If you're getting steamy, this would probably be a good time to tell him to feel over your panties. You want him feeling you properly wet. Enough that if he held his hands to his mouth, he'd get a taste. So, here we go. So, the deleted user here is confirmed as sick. And obviously, Phemoid is Lav, okay? Okay, before we talk about this stuff, I got to mention, I have a girlfriend and I find you attractive. So if I'm giving advice, I'm just saying what I like and how I got there. And that my intention is not at all meant to make you uncomfortable. Sorry if that's forward, but if you're going to ask advice, I want to make sure I'm as honest as possible. Ha 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 ha. Is that a boundary? Or are you hitting on me? It's hard to tell. So one factor to bear in mind is these messages from the 23rd of May, 2022. So actually like a year ago. Interesting. It's a boundary and a compliment. Okay. So I wouldn't call it hitting on you at that level. I imagine you know you're attractive or have an attractive personality. Yes, I'm very hot. Lol, okay, bring it down. You don't need to rub it in. Hee 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 hee. Do you want the advice or do you plan on teasing me all night? So 9:42, 9:46, 9:46. Okay, these are a continuation. So within like, you know, quite soon of the conversation, I believe starting, it's, you know, it seems like Sick is trying to take it down like a sexual route, right? Somewhat. When you say things like talk about teasing me and stuff like that. Let's continue on. Oh, that's. I can tell. Yeah, so that ass, you keep distracting me. So I don't know if this is maybe like in reference to something that's happening in a voice call or something. I think that these screenshots were taken recently. So this voice call here is from a server called OTE, which is like a spin-off of another server called ETO, which itself is a spin-off from the Mr. Girl server. So one thing to bear in mind in looking at all of this is that a lot of this is rooted in, you know, like weird Discord spin-offs of Mr. Girl servers. And you'll see when we look at 6 Twit Longer Response, there's a lot of kind of weird degen shit going on in these servers. So yeah, it's obviously just a hive of grotesque, weird shit, essentially. Yeah, the Mr. Girl server lore is very deep. And there's and bear in mind, these are like offshoots of Mr. Girl's Discord. So they're like the people who like are too much even for like Mr. Girl's community potentially. And yeah. So a lot of this is gonna just bear it in mind basically. Right, anyway, I can tell is yeah, so that actually keeps distracting me. So your advice is I guess it's to have him spank me. There's more than that. We haven't even finished with the spanking dweeb. Go on. You're skipping steps. My hand is on my cock. Lamau, I hate you. This is within like 15 minutes. Yeah, within 20 minutes, we're at this stage of the hand being on the. Okay. Okay. So I think what my understanding, and you see as we go through this, I think this is supposed to be like Sick is speaking to Lav about how to have sex with her partner or something like that, I think is what's happening here. That's the kind of intention, I believe. Yeah. What's that? I'm stroking my shit meme. Anyway. Jittery in what way? It should be weird, right? So this is a couple of minutes later. We haven't got the in-between, I guess. I want to respond, but I'm going to get really hot if you tell me your clit is throbbing again, lol. Yes, ask him. Tell him you just want him to spank you for a bit. Be weird about it. Thumbs up emoji. It doesn't help this is weird, like, kind of cuckold shit, does it? Oh, that is a tough read. That is a fucking tough read, I gotta be honest with you. Oh. I'm throwing ice water on you through the interweb. Ask him in normal clothes, and when he says yes, you ask him to hold still, and then you'll go change into a bra and panties or a shirt with no bra. You're not asking for sex at this point. It's important not to make it about anything but the spanking, so that way he knows that's exactly what you want. This is also why he'll be in shorts, though. So the premise of this is supposed to be Lav wanted some advice. That's the claim I believe that's made. Lav wanted some advice about sex. So Sick is giving her advice about sex, but doing it in a way that it's clearly about him getting some sexual gratification out of it too. And then this comment here, when I looked at it the other day, I didn't really understand it. But I think what this is in reference to is she's saying, like, when she's talking about ice water, it's like a coded way of saying, hey, don't be so horny, right? Yeah, to cool him down because he's being too horny. Okay. And he's going full on. He is full on. There's no stopping him. There's literally no fucking stopping his weird little cuck sex fantasy from just continuing on. Jesus Christ. Okay. Wait, have I got? No, that's number 5. Oh no, there's more here. Okay, you're not asking for sex at this point. It's important not to make it about anything but the spanking, so that way he knows that's exactly what you want. This is also why he'll be in shorts, though, to trick him. Oh. Cock, and this will get him all hard, and then that lets him feel like he's the one making it about sex. So yeah, obviously, there's a couple of problems with this. You've got like the weird cuck stuff, okay, which is coming through this, and it's the intricacy of it as well. Like clearly he's thought about this. Clearly he's had some thoughts about this. Yeah, not good. And also, like clearly, based on the messages here, there's something we'll point out in a sec. But based on the messages here, there doesn't really seem to be like much reciprocation. Like it doesn't seem like Lav is like massively engaged in this. It doesn't seem like Lav is like particularly interested in this conversation and is just playing along. Obviously, she could be a lot clearer about it and say stop doing that or whatever. But nonetheless, I'm not really getting an impression that she is particularly engaged in this conversation. So, and bear in mind as well, it's pretty soon after the conversation has started, from what we can see here at least, that it's moved to like a hardcore sexual conversation. Listen, Kai, I got to be honest with you. I don't think that's the case. Well, also maybe she's talking more on the call and he's typing instead of talking. I don't believe they were. I think they would have been in like maybe a public voice call or something. I don't know what the exact situation was, but yeah, I don't believe that's the case though. Jesus. Well, he's responded. We'll get to it. Don't worry. I've got it all lined up as best I can. Okay. Don't worry, Captain. We'll get to that as well. All right. So while he's tapping you and you can feel your cheeks getting tingly, then you can ask him to do a little harder of a tap and work from there. I mean, yeah, it's the thrust, excuse the term, but it's the thrust of the conversation that is just so excessively and insanely sexual to a high degree, you know? And I believe, from what I understand, yeah, Atari, we'll get to that. I believe, from what I understand, the pretense of this is he's giving her sex advice, like he's just giving her like friendly advice about sex. But obviously the way that he's describing it is excessively and unnecessarily sexual. Like, he is, the way he's talking is designed to get sexual gratification out of it himself, right? Like, if someone came to you and, like, if your male friend asked you for sex advice, you wouldn't go into detail about how he needs to touch his cock and stuff like that. You might just give like generic advice, broad advice, because you don't want to think about your mate in a sexual way. That would be a bit weird, right? So, there's clearly, from what I'm reading, Sick is getting like some form of sexual gratification out of this. Chud being pro-Lav. I'm not being pro-Lav. I'm just looking at what's in front of me. I'm just looking at what's in front of me and saying what I see. Yes, I don't like Lav. Obviously, I've got more affinity for Sick, but I've got to say what I see on the screen. And this reads as someone who is engaging excessively in a sexual conversation where, it's not really appropriate to do so, especially on the basis the conversation has only recently started. Is it a rape? No, but it is, creepy. Sure, it's creepy. It's like a bit creepy, isn't it? To so quickly, boom, get into the conversation. Now, again, I've not read his response, so we'll look at that and we'll go from there. But there's definitely some issues here for sure. Mind reading his intention is kind of pointless. It's not about mind reading his intention at all, okay? I'm not mind reading his intention. I'm saying that these messages read to me as how can you read these and just be like, oh no, he's just given her advice about sex? Like, obviously, he is writing this with the intent of getting sexual gratification out of it himself. Right? Anyway, listen, I'm getting one guide, okay? Let's continue. And work from there. So that's 6. Make sure when he gets hard to feel his cock for just a second and notice it, but don't ask for it. If you're getting steamy, this would probably be a good time to tell him to feel over your panties. You want him feeling you properly wet. Enough that if he held his hands to his mouth, he'd get a taste. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Don't mind read, guys. Guys, don't mind read this, okay? Come on. What's the point in mind reading his intentions? Like, come on. It's quite obvious what's happening here, right? He's seeing an opportunity to have a sexual conversation and he's diving in feet first, right? That's it. That's what's happening here. And also he's doing it in like this weird cuck perspective too, which obviously just adds further degeneracy to the recipe, right? Like, I don't know, like, obviously these messages look pretty terrible on Sick's part. Now, at this point, I would like to just note, whilst I think that, like, I think I'm not off the mark in like how I'm viewing this, because there'd need to be quite a lot of other content for me to recontextualize how I view these messages. It is worth noting you've got original message was deleted. So it's worth bearing in mind that Lav deleted messages. Obviously, it doesn't necessarily recontextualize just having the deleted messages there. We need to see what they are. But it's just worth noting because it certainly calls into question maybe some of the extremities or some of the claims that Lav is making if she's deleting messages. Because it's like, well, if you're looking to be transparent by releasing these, you should release them in full. You shouldn't release them with deleted messages, because that then calls into question, you know, like your reflection on events if you're finding the need to delete messages. Nonetheless, though, I mean, I don't know if that significantly changes my interpretation of what I'm seeing here. How do we know deleted user sick? Because sick has said as much, and he self-references as sick later. I do my best. Do you think I'm not as well? Wee woo boundary police. So what was that message, and what's this about? Because this could be recontextualized by this message, depending on what this was. Because maybe that's in a reference to him being the boundary police of her. But then also what it could be, which based on what we can see is what I would interpret it as, is she saying, hey, she's trying to like softly state a boundary. You know? So, you know, sick bros, I've got to be honest with you. It's not looking, these messages look pretty bad, you know, in terms of like an interaction. Not the ads. I'll wait for the ads before we move on. I know Lav to be a dishonest person. I mean, the problem is Lav, you know, I believe Lav's a dishonest person, and I don't, you know, I wouldn't like get on board with like necessarily the extremities of her claims, particularly if she's deleting messages. I just think that like at the very least, like this is a very weird sexualized conversation where the context is supposed to be, you know, asking, well, allegedly Lav asked for sex advice, that's contested, but at the very least, Sick is proposing like sex advice, but doing it in a way that's about, you know, personal sexual gratification for him, right? No. Sick isn't. We'll get to his tweet. Let's let Sick speak for himself on his tweet longer. I'll read it, and obviously we'll go from there. Okay. Hey, thanks for the gifted subs. Appreciate it. Keep them coming. Yo! Right. We were talking about cuffs another day. I hate cuffs, boring. So, hang on. Does it skip again or? So that was 7, 10, 15. Oh, no, it doesn't. Wait, what did I miss there? I hate cuffs, boring. We're talking about cuffs another day. I hate cuffs, boring. Rather than feet, oh, or a tool, okay, hands. Any belt or tool or anything else is just going to add a layer between you and him, and you want him to feel like he's the one raping you. Spicy chat coverage number 1. Spicy chat owns you, white man. The problem with the spicy chat coverage is it does look good, and I would strongly recommend it, but it's also 4 hours long, and I just don't have time to watch a 4-hour VOD and react to it. I will watch a small portion of it when Sick comes on, and I will strongly recommend it. But I did decide to go my own separate way with this one. Any belt or tool or anything else just going to add a layer between you. I'm still here, by the way. Just finished my food. Whoa! Hang on. What? I skipped a bit. Okay, let me read that bit again. Right. No more chat distractions, because this is important. Any belt or tool, anything else is just going to add a layer between you and him, and you want him to feel like he's the one raping you. Yo! What the fuck? Where did that come from? What on earth? No. He says, look, right. Okay. Again, If there's like a bunch of crazy deleted messages, I'd obviously be willing to, you know, bear that in mind and whatever. But what we've got here, and you want him to feel like he's the one raping you. I'm still here, by the way. Just finished my food. And then you there. That looks like two separate messages because she's not responding because he just said, feel like he's the one raping you. This reads to me like, you know, Lav is like, what the fuck? And then he's like messaging again twice to try and you know, re-engage the conversation. Yeah, it comes across as like a desperation situation, right? They are separate. You can tell by the spacing. Now, I know they're separate, but what I'm trying to get at is like, you know, when you message someone and like they give the indication or sign that like they're not, you know, like a double message. It's like a double message. It's considered a faux pas. But it gets to the point after like a day where you're like, well, is this person going to respond or not? So you just drop them another friendly message. And then maybe a couple of days later, another one. And then you cut it off if like they're not responding because they're probably not interested anymore, right? That's what's happening, but he's doing it in the course of like a short period of time. I'm still here, by the way. Just finished my food. You there? Yes, yes, yes. Lol, right now. Yes, right now. So this here, I'm thinking, yes, there's lol, right now. Yes, right now. What is that in reference to? That comes across as maybe there's like some deleted messages here, perhaps, because, you know, I'm thinking like this doesn't really make sense as it reads, does it? Sick is explaining how to get this dude who isn't sexually forward to get a taste for being more sexually forward. It isn't out of the blue. Okay, tuna chip. I mean, that's all well and good, but he's doing it in the most lascivious, sexual way possible and stated in, like, you know, a way that he's clearly trying to garner some sort of sexual gratification out of it himself. I mean, again, like, I guess what I'd say is you know, there could be deleted messages here that would make me drastically change how I'm reading this. But like, what would they be? What would they read like? What would they say? Like, what would like I don't know. Like the narrative he's just trying to help her is just baloney. It's complete bullshit. Like clearly he is getting or trying to get sexual gratification out of this combo. Which, you know, just I think that's evident from the messages. When is this in relation to Six video on Lav? Oh my god. Psycho Cargate. Thank you so much for the $50. That's very generous of you. Thank you. It relates in as much as a narrative that some people have been looking at is the idea that the reason that Sick did the documentary is because he was like a scorned lover. So, you know, I'm kind of taking that into account looking at this too. This is from last year. I mean, Sick will give us more info in his twit-long about what maybe the context of this is. But I mean, just reading the conversation, there'd need to be an absolute ton of deleted messages for me to interpret this any other way than Sick is engaging in a lascivious sexual conversation with someone who isn't isn't like is giving some prompts that maybe they're willing to continue, but they're not like fully engaged in the conversation, you know? So yeah. Anyway, let's continue on. Yes, yes, lol, right now. Yes, right now. I'm glad you got to have some fun for yourself. Smiley face. So this is 24th of the 4th, 4:19 a.m. 23rd of the 5th, 10:21. Wait, what? 24th of the 5th, sorry, I'm an idiot. So this is like a few hours later, right? So this is 10:16 p.m. This is like 6 hours later. So then it cuts off, and then it goes to May 24th. Okay, here we go. I'm glad. Wait, she's engaged. Yeah, sure, but like, sure. And again, if there's deleted messages, I mean, potentially change my mind on this. But she doesn't seem to be like fully engaged in the conversation. She is clearly like, you know, um, to me it seems she's not like super interested in this conversation that's occurring, right? She just doesn't seem interested, right? I'm glad you got to have some fun for yourself. Smiley face. Vol sell my ass. Lamau, I'm right now because I'm fighting with my girlfriend and I won't have sex with people unless I'm into them emotionally at that moment. Otherwise, I feel like the sex isn't a choice, but compelled and is therefore rape and not in the good way. I'm okay with periods of celibacy. Just don't... Bringing up rape so soon after starting to speak to someone in a sexual way, particularly when it's more one-sided. I don't know, man. That's my advice is not to do that. Okay, my advice is not to do that. If you want to engage in whatever fucking sex fantasies you want to, whatever, okay, but there needs to. This is why there needs to be like a lot of trust before you ever go near those topics, because this sounds insane, you know. Um, but yeah, it does seem weird that it's like it's out of nowhere it's being brought up, you know. And it makes it difficult with the deleted messages, certainly. But even then, you know, you should be very cautious about that sort of angle with someone you haven't had any sort of, you know, real interaction with. But yeah, like I say, there need to be a torrent of deleted messages for me to change my kind of broad interpretation of this. Sounds like you're a pussy, maybe having problems because you're not fucking her. I'm not fucking her because we have problem. Because we have problem. I'm not fucking her because we have problems, not the way around. We had sex like a week ago. Also, I'll be honest, I like gatekeeping the sex. Keeps the power in my court. I don't want to be one of those sad fucks trying to get any little amount of validation from the woman in this Discord. Jesus Christ, man. Sick. From the past. I got some bad news for you, bro. I got some bad news for you. Unfortunately, they're saying that that's exactly what you're doing. Sadly, that's what's being said. Okay, so that's number 9. So sensitive. So this is later in the day. Sorry, these messages. Look, so you got 4:19, and then presumably there's some sleep that happens. 10:35, 10:38 a.m., and then we jump to 11:34 p.m. You're the one getting butt hurt. Never in my life have I gotten butthurt. I appreciate your kindness. I'm fine. Go back to bullying me, please. I handle it much better. Just catch me in another debate and I'll explain why you're an idiot for thinking I'm infantilizing women. He 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 he. Also, I liked it better when I was giving you tips anyways. You're a lot better to talk to when I get to treat you like a fuck toy anyways. Jesus Christ sick. What the fuck? How can you defend this? Well, the thing is, I guess it's like, what, you know, what is he defending against? Do you know what I mean? That's the thing. What's the accusation that's made? And I guess we'll look at his tweet longer and see what he says in response. Because like, did he rape her? Like, no. But did he send, you know, DMs to someone that were heavily and unnecessarily sexualized? Um, without a seeming reciprocation. Obviously, I think I agree that there's likely DMs that will deleted DMs here that could change the context and interpretation of what happened. But how much is it going to change it by? That's the thing. That's the thing to bear in mind. It's like what it's so difficult, and this is why it's so frustrating. Having to take these DMs from Lav, because obviously with these deleted messages, it calls into question like her goals in doing this, right? Like, why is she releasing these DMs in this way, deleting messages? If you wanted transparency, you just release the whole lot without deleting them. So it's like, whilst I think there's definitely, worthy criticism to send Six way in this, I just hate the idea that Lav gets a free pass on releasing these DMs whilst deleting messages, essentially. Because it's like, that's... And I've heard the kind of, oh, well, it's bad to release the DMs. Yeah, sure, it's bad to release the DMs. But Lav is going to feel justified because Sick did this 2-hour documentary on her where he went and, like, looked into aspects of parts of her life she considers private. So she's got, like, that response, Like, to her, she feels justified in doing it, right? So, I don't know, it's tricky. Like, sure, just releasing DMs fucking sucks. But then, she believes, just trying to see it from her perspective for a second, which, obviously I'm not a fan of. But she obviously thinks, well, this guy was a freak who went and dug up on private life and wanted to make a thing about me. So I'm going to release these to further my narrative, right? Everyone wants to perpetuate and show their narrative of what's going on. And she feels these DMs do that. So, yeah. Does anyone else not really give a fuck? I give a fuck in as much as, just going over them and talking about what I think it shows and demonstrates, Anyway, let's continue on. Hey, I'm trying to talk to Button about my May 31st. I'm trying to talk to Button about my... Okay, we don't know what that said. And then this is from June the 2nd. Jesus Christ, I hate you so much right now, lol. He, punish me. And then June 4th. Hey, I don't know if you're okay or not, but I just wanted to let you know, people like you... And yeah, I get it. Herder, Sick, you're better when you're mean, but don't mistake people disagreeing with you for not liking you. You're an appreciated member of the community in Mr. Girl and Bitch Palace. Thank you. Sick, are you okay? What do you need from me right now? Can you hold your own, or do you want to squash it? So this is going to go into in the twit longer, I think. But what this relates to is someone Sick had sexted with someone else in the Discord who was a sex worker, and I think that he'd sent her like pictures of himself naked, and this other person was alluding to leaking what essentially be revenge porn. I don't think she actually posted the full nude pictures, but posted like clipped pictures to make it look like she was going to do it. So this is what this is about, right? What do you need from me right now? Can you hold your own, or do you want to squash it? There's no recourse. I was trying to operate in good faith, and this is what happens. You can't assume everyone else does. You're getting some pretty serious consequences for your actions thrown back in your face right now. Kind of a bit prophetic. Good thing is it stays in chat. Now it's okay. She gets away. No way to make that situation healthy. What would you like me to do? Are you good to hold your own? I mean, she's posting revenge porn. No, I left. I'm not good on that. I think you should respond. Doesn't matter if it's cropped. I agree. That's why I keep deleting it. I don't want to respond. It's the responding that's going to make me unwell. Just for future reference, that's the type of person you ban. I think you two can learn from and grow from this with me as a mediator. No. And that's it. That's the end of the DMs. No. I don't think that's anywhere. Okay. So I'll just, for full transparency, okay, obviously we've looked at what Lav has leaked. For full transparency, this is Sick that sent me this, okay? But obviously this is a response to the DMs getting leaked, so it's only fair that I show this too. And I believe it's an effort to show where the deleted DMs are. So this is his response to these DMs essentially. And then we'll look at the twit longer, okay, which is quite long. DMs from Lavlune are missing here. She says this conversation was conducted with her in VC. I wouldn't have ever had this conversation over VC. She said on Tomfoolery's stream that her and her friends were in VC making fun of me while this conversation was happening, but then also saying the reason you don't see some of the responses from Lav is because she was responding to me from inside a voice call. None of this makes sense, just an outright lie. Okay. So I guess there's some context that we're missing. I guess there's some context that we're missing from some of this stuff claimed here. It's a boundary and a compliment. Missing Lav response. Missing Lav response here as well. Lavcott saw some sort of emoji image response. Possible text here. God, he's gone. Yeah, he's gone for full forensics. He's gone full forensics mode on this. In the next screen, I'm responding to her, but a text is missing. So yeah, that's the deleted message. Lav said on Tom's stream that Boundaries comment was her saying I was going too far, but this was her teasing me about my, albeit disingenuous, boundaries about my ex. See, that's what I was. I mean, I didn't know that this. Obviously, Sick hasn't even released this yet. Apparently, he just sent it to me then. That's what I'm saying is, you know, we're gonna have to. It's just a he said, she said on what this boundary comment was. Was it her stating a boundary or saying a boundary or alluding to it, or was it responding to this message was about a boundary? Lav said on Tom's stream that the boundaries comment. Okay, we just read that. Don't know if any texts are missing here, but the time jump between DMs is 5 hours. Yeah. Missing DMs from her or her and I. Yeah, I think the thing to bear in mind with this is I don't think my overall characterization of these messages is wrong, but there's certain particulars of the interaction which, because it hasn't been released in full, because there's parts missing, because there's deleted messages, there's certain specific narratives that it is a he said, she said situation, you know? So, yeah. Message here, but unrelated to the drama. The next message is me responding to a comment. The only person I've received such message from is Sick. Oh, okay. Warning signs, obviously. Don't know if anything's missing. And that's it. So even in Sick's response here, I don't know if there's enough here to change the broad characterization of the messages, which is essentially him, you know, having an unnecessary sexual conversation in what is alleged to be a request for sexual advice in regards to her partner. That's what it seems like to me. Anyway, I think those deleted messages are gone forever. I don't think we're ever gonna you know, see what they say. But obviously Lav is someone who has twisted narratives around DMs to suit her ends. So the fact there is quite a bit missing here, it seems, kind of diminishes her side of the story somewhat. But unless there was some crazy messages deleted, I just think this is, like, you know, inappropriate from Sick to engage in this conversation in this way. Like, clearly he is seeking to gain some sexual gratification out of describing in Lavacious terms how Lav ought to have sex with a partner. Like, that just seems obvious to me, and it's kind of undeniable. Will Lav ask for sexual advice? Yeah, but if you ask, like, your mate for sexual advice, and they're not even friends really. But if you ask someone for sexual advice and they started giving you graphic descriptions of how to have sex, you'd probably be a bit like, no, not like that. Do you know what I mean? You'd probably be like, hang on a minute. I mean, certainly, you know, it's not explicitly clear that Lav isn't interested in having that kind of conversation, but certainly, you know, there's clues there that she isn't particularly engaged. Again, presuming there aren't, like, lots of deleted messages. It seems like she's not particularly engaged in having that kind of conversation. But yeah. Anyway, so that is the initial DMs, okay? Sick actually went on to Queeman's stream. I think there's a bit of disappointment because I'm not covering Queeman's stream about it, but unfortunately it's 4 hours long, and it was like a call in my Discord. I'd recommend it if you want to watch this drama from, like, another angle. If you want to watch but if you want to watch DK read the messages out while some autists scream about how no one cares about it, I'll link it here. But this is Sick joining the call, so I just want to listen to what Sick's got to say about this. But I'll link this if you want to watch the rest of it.
I don't think it's this deep.
No, that's where I started.
You guys hear me?
That's where I started.
For the record, I don't think. For the record, I don't think.
Okay, we've got Sick. Everyone, shut up. Hold up.
Hey, shut up! All right.
Yeah.
All right, Sick.
Do I need to be watching the stream?
No. Well,
Okay.
You might want to, but
okay.
You don't have to.
No, I will. Okay. I mean,
all right. So you missed our, what was it, a few hours of coverage of the drama.
how long have you guys been here?
4
that
hours.
long?
3 hours. 3 hours.
Jesus Christ.
The verdict we came to, I think, was that, and Boots may be upset with me saying this, but I think the general consensus is that you are a weird freak for the messages that you were sending Lav.
Jesus Christ. Is DK the judge? Is DK the judge? I mean, I don't even necessarily disagree. I mean, it is, you know, to jump into such lavacious sexual messages like that's kind of crazy. And to the cock angle, just the cock angle makes it worse, okay?
But that it's not particularly bad, and that it doesn't have much of any impact on the Hitpiece video. Does everyone agree with that?
Yeah,
that's pretty fair.
Basically how I summed it up as well.
That's pretty fair. I think so. I know there's some people that are more, they're saying this kind of scorn lover narrative, and certainly I can see why people would see that. But I don't know if there's enough there for me to say, like, he made the documentary because he was a scorned lover. I think it's, you know, possibly contributed to his decision to do it. And there is, like, a timeline I've got that maybe we can look at to kind of shed some light on this too. But yeah. I just think that, I mean, first of all, I don't know if, apart from Lav, I mean, Lav obviously wants to perpetuate this image or impression that the documentary is null and void because he was a weird, obsessed, scorned lover. But then, even if that was true, doesn't matter because, you know, it's assessed on the information provided within it. Anything beyond that is irrelevant. But then on top of that as well, But then on top of that as well, it's like, you know, I haven't actually seen that many people say the documentary is null and void. I've just seen people say it comes across like he's a scorned lover, which, you know, yeah, I can understand why someone might think that, you know, after looking at these messages. Or look at the timeline it's set. But let's just play this out.
Okay. So why was my presence requested then? Because that's I mean here's the thing. I don't think that the messages aren't weird. I don't think that they're not embarrassing. I knew that that was going to happen, but that's the whole reason when I made the fucking twit longer, I just decided to put in as much as I remember because Lav could only ever confirm something that I said before or correct it in a sense. She's not going to catch me like lying about what happened between us.
So, do you? First of all, I'm just gonna ask this for everyone in here because it is like the question that everyone was wondering while we were going over the things. Do you consider yourself a cock?
Okay.
Come on. The key question first.
I'm not laughing while I'm asking this, but this is like, for me, this is serious.
Okay. I got a shirt in the mail, and it was actually the Mr. Girl getting cucked by DGG, and getting DGG'd, the ones you guys hated the design on. I think the universe, in a sense, is trying to tell me that I am definitely cucked.
Well, we know you are cucked, but do you consider yourself a cuck?
Yeah, it's a fancy way to avoid that question.
No, I think it means I can't deny that I am because the universe has already spoken to me.
Still not answering the question yet, saying maybe
Rose got on weed.
All right, so 6
I
o'clock.
I mean, the answer. I was gonna say the answer is
He's kind of avoiding the question. Come on, just listen. Say it like it is.
yes. You guys
Okay.
just don't like the way I'm answering
Sick.
it.
Are you willing to enter some kind of like therapy or rehab or like something to correct this nature of yours?
Unironically, I already went to therapy. Like
For this situation?
between 8 and 6 months ago. Yeah.
What exactly were you trying to get to the bottom of? Do you make any breakthroughs?
My personal relationship shit, and then the stuff surrounding it. Yes, this was a part of it actually.
Oh, I guess I want confirmation.
Sexting,
on something.
sorry, sexting
This
Lav
is-
was
this is
a part of
rough.
the therapy.
No, women in general.
Okay.
Wait, hang on. No women in general, or no women in general?
I think the latter.
Oh, no comma, or no period. Women in general.
I just want to break down a couple of these. If you're okay with that. So these boundary messages, you setting your boundaries when you first went over this. So I think we all agreed that what's going on here is cheating.
Yes, agreed.
And this is not actually setting boundaries.
No, there's messages before that, and that was the end of me setting boundaries. Again, she was just being flirty and dismissive. So I was just.
But you started out by being flirty. And you
No,
kinda
she
dismissed
started
her
out by being
boundaries.
flirty. This is what I'm saying. There's not just shit that's not being shown. Even in what is shown, there's like I don't really send people like 8 consecutive messages. And I don't remember that being how things were between her and I. Yeah, I just, again, I still don't disagree with the characterization or the way that I described things inside of the twit longer because there's
Are you
just
saying-
shit that's not being shown.
Are you saying that you going, hey, this is just advice? Like that's a serious thing that you were trying to say.
Yes.
So
That's a
you
lie.
did not.
Come on, Sick. You've got to see it wasn't like, come on. It wasn't just advice. Like, if you read the messages, that isn't just plain sex advice. That is sex advice with the flavor of trying to get sexual gratification for yourself. I don't even know if I call it sex advice. It's like, you know, he's like trying to do some weird cuck sexting thing.
Well,
Not
rather
these-
than out in this conversation, bro. The
Say
whole
that again?
time. This was not you just giving advice. This was you giving like graphic descriptions of how she should jerk off her husband, bro.
Yeah, no, it definitely developed that way. Yes. Agreed.
It developed that way. I mean, you know, 942, okay, you know, setting out this boundary here, this boundary is a boundary and a compliment. 946. $948, he's talking about teasing. And then 10 minutes after that, talking about the ass. And then we're into spanking. Like, I don't know, man. Like, to me, that's such a quick turnaround on that development. You know, I don't know if it's correct to say it developed that way. It seemed like it started out and that was the intent, right? So, yeah, I'm a little bit... I feel like Six being a bit slippery here. I think that, to me, you're best off just admitting what it was. I don't know why he's trying to act like it was just advice. Like, I don't think if you're talking about spanking within 20 minutes, you're genuinely just trying to offer advice to someone of a sexual nature.
So, okay, I have a real question.
I'm just saying, when the initial message was sent, it wasn't.
Wait, hold on.
I would consider almost everything afterwards to be, yes, cheating.
Like, this is serious. So you're saying that it started out this way, but it ended up being more sexual. So
no, okay, here's how I would describe it. At the beginning, that was not my intention. Very quickly on though, I think
I don't think that's true. I think that's cope. I think that's big time cope.
Became apparent to both parties that you couldn't talk about this shit in the way that I was going to talk about it and she was going to talk about it without it being like cheating.
Okay,
would you say she broke your boundaries that you said?
I would say I allowed her to, but yes.
Sig, do you realize that to the outside observer, in these chat logs, it looks more like what's actually going on is you say, oh, listen, I want to have sex with you, so we can't have this conversation like the way you want to have it. We have to have it this other way. And then she's like, haha, are you sure you don't want to have it the way I want to have it? And then you're like, actually, yeah, I do. And it just feels like you were just testing and saying, like, is she going to push past this? And then when she did, you took it. And that seems like the more logical explanation rather than you were actually trying to set a boundary while saying that you want to fuck her.
I think you're removing... Yeah. No, okay, first of all, I didn't shut it down. You're right. Second of all, I would only disagree in the sense that Lav was setting lures the entire time.
Sure, but you're like taking them and setting more.
No, but the way you're...
But, I mean, he is, like, graphically describing sex later, like... I just think that, like, he is jumping into the pool. Do you know what I mean? He don't care if the water's hot or cold. He's just fucking jumping straight in there. It is Lav style. I mean, one thing to bear in mind in your analysis of this is that this is back in 2022. So we obviously all know a lot more about Lav from some of the dramas that she's been involved in. So obviously at the time he had no idea about any of this. But I feel like his characterization of these messages is, to me, dishonest. I just don't think, based on my read of it, that's what was happening. You know, yeah, I don't know if he's embarrassed or what it is. And obviously, look, to be fair, it's a fucking Discord call. You know, this is my Discord. This is lots of people from Spicy Chat. People have been fucking needling him about this all day. Sure, but then don't jump into the call if you're not wanting to do that. Like, prepare your defense or whatever you need to do and go from there. So yeah, I mean, I think overall the way he's handled this has been really bad, and he's just not kind of tackled it in the best way. And this just, you know, it just creates more holes. Like, I just don't buy this idea that it was just genuinely going to be about advice, and then all of a sudden we're talking about, you know, spanking and shit.
Describing it is like super one-sided.
He answered the siren's call. That's what happened, you know.
I think that's what's going on.
I think
Like,
it's
it's
fair
a
to say
boundary
that.
and a compliment, bro.
Yes,
You're so
unironically,
hot,
you can.
but we can't have this conversation. Oh, really? You think I'm hot? Okay, yeah, let's have this conversation. It's like the most obvious, like
I gotta
testing the
agree with
waters and then
women
going
here,
on.
unfortunately. Women and I don't see eye to eye on many of these kinds of
Yeah.
things, but
Unfortunately.
Okay. I don't think it's unfair to say that you might want to set a boundary because of an attraction to a person.
but
I
you wouldn't
think
state that. You would never state that
well,
in your boundary
I would
setting unless
say,
you wanted them
okay.
to push the boundary.
First of all, even having the conversation in the first place, I would say was inappropriate because it's really hard to like walk that fucking line and stay straight. And then second of all, I would consider almost everything afterwards to be like the boundary break is mine on her end, but like me allowing her to. Like
Okay,
me basically me opening the door for it to
Well,
happen.
let's try to be honest here. I'm gonna give you. I know how you Twitch poll people work, so follow me here for a second.
I've got an analogy as well, DK, but go.
Okay, so let's say I go out to I don't know. There's someone I know, and I go out into town with this girl, and when we meet up, I tell her, all right, there can't be any touching while we're hanging out because I find you really fucking hot.
Yeah.
So
right.
that we can't touch each other, but we can hang out. If Boots heard about that, how do you think she'd feel? How would she see that?
Wait, what the fuck? I just started listening again.
Sorry, 1 second.
Yeah, take your time, Sick. Get your answer straight.
No, again, I would say again that this is yes, it was inappropriate for me to state.
Okay, so you see how when it's inappropriate from the outset, it's hard to believe that you didn't have sexual intentions going in, and it was.
No,
just
there's
something
a
about
wait. There's a difference
the
between
message
saying that
after.
I'm. Wait, there's a difference between saying I'm engaging in inappropriate behavior, and my intention is to like make this an inappropriate thing.
Well, you've
You're
already
having a
made it
laugh moment
inappropriate.
right now. For
No, it just
That's what's
means
going-
it was. No, it was it means it was a short-sighted thing to even allow that conversation to happen and me to offer it. And her, like, yes.
Why do people care about these three hooking up? Well, they didn't hook up. The reason people care about it is because, well, first of all, Sick did this 2-hour documentary about Lav, and unfortunately, these messages do lend credence. You know, whether you agree with it or not, the conclusion, they at least lend credence to the idea. You know, that there was some other motivation for making the documentary, perhaps like a scorned lover angle or something, and you know. It just seems that Sick's responses on this are like a bit lackluster, you know? I just think, you know, he'd be far better off saying, listen, yeah, I went into the conversation. Obviously, I thought she was hot. And, you know, I hoped we might go down a sexual route, and we did. And that was that. I don't know. I just feel like that would just be the better way to deal with this. I mean, maybe this is his genuine feeling of the situation, but I don't know, it just comes across as disingenuous to me. Does the motivation matter of his claims or wealth? Yeah, well, the thing is, the motivation doesn't matter for the documentary, but it certainly calls into question, you know, at the very least, Sick's actions, and you know that can be looked at, and it's like, well, why did you do it or whatever, right? I'm a bit quiet. Am I? Hello, test. Hello.
Like
Sick.
the appropriate way for me to engage in this conversation would have been to again DM her, tell her not to get her advice in the Mr. Girl server, and then leave it at that. That would have been appropriate. In no way should I have involved myself.
What is that mic?
I was your.
What the fuck? Oh my god. Okay, listen. I appreciate this being arranged. Okay, I know there's a lot of muting going on. But anyone that's got a fucked mic, this needs to be insta-muted.
Biggest defender in this conversation. I really desperately want you to just admit that, yes, like, you thought that you knew something about the subject and, like, you wanted to say it to her because, like, you had sexual intentions with her.
What? Is this guy for real? Who is this? I'm going to fucking ban them immediately from my Discord. Who is it? No, I'm not really going to ban them. It's just so like, bro, you're on a call with like 50 people. Everyone's trying to find out what's going on. Okay. And you're just making loads of noise. Mute your fucking mic. What is going on?
Because I feel like we can all see that.
Yes, but I was there messaging her at the time. Weirdly enough, these are my messages.
It's also so funny how the
what do you mean
pretense
you
of you
were
coming
there
in,
messaging her?
the pretense of you coming into the DMs is going, oh, I see you're talking to these nerds about sex. Well, unlike these guys, I actually have sex, so allow me to talk to you about it instead, privately.
No,
hold
on. You're not.
I mean, I feel like Queenman's putting it. Look, Queenman fucking hates sick at this point, okay? And whilst I think there's definitely stuff to criticize here, like, it feels like he's putting a lot of narrative into these messages. But, I mean, I've not seen enough to say that part is correct, right? Like, I think there's enough to criticize without just, inserting entire narratives that aren't even present in the messages.
You're not even being fair there, because yes, my whole entire point of messaging her was to not get her advice from inside the community, and then she replied to that with asking if I've got any advice of my own. Yes,
but those are lost.
That doesn't mean that I was intending for me to be the one giving her that conversation as an alternative.
I don't understand how you logicked your way out of that in your head.
So strange.
Wait,
this is really weird, guys.
You replied to me. Like, I don't understand what you meant. Like, when you... Okay, so yes, you could have had, like, in the front of your head, I guess, like, good intentions where, like, this woman is getting, like, bad sexual advice. But, like, I don't feel like you would do the same for men in this case, who are, like, trying to get into, like, BDSM shit, and you would not talk to them in the same way. So, like...
Yes, Boots is correct. Yes, exactly. If one of your mates messaged you and said, oh, hey, I'm thinking about getting into, like, spanking and stuff, what do you reckon? You're not going to suddenly start going, oh, yeah, well, let's talk about having a hand on your cock and all this shit. Like, you would go about it in a very different way. Like, I just don't understand why Sick can't just go, hey, guys, listen. Yeah, it was a sexual thing from the start in the back of my mind. Like, that to me seems like the far better interpretation of this.
You can admit there is something in you that is, like, really into her sexually. You said as much in the first fucking message. So, like, you can say, I messaged her because I was into her and, like, I found her really attractive and I found the idea of a conversation with her enticing. But also...
Wait, do you mean it in the first message or the first message you see?
But you can also say, I messaged her because I actually have something to add to this conversation and I was trying to help somebody that I know.
No, the only reason I messaged her was not to add anything, was to get her the fuck away. The only thing I had to add when I messaged her was for the purposes of letting her know everybody else is not informed on this subject or just needs to get the fuck away. Or she needs to get the fuck away from them if she's asking these specific kinds of questions.
Oh, man. Okay, this is... He was trying to protect her from the hordes of virgins. I don't know, man. Maybe Creamer was right after all. I don't know. These answers are fucking so lackluster. I don't know, man. These answers fucking suck from Sick, I've got to say. I understand he's under pressure. It's just happened and stuff like that, but fuck me. He's making a dog's dinner of this. Thank you very much for the sub. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, so why didn't you just say that publicly?
What do you mean? I did.
So why did you message her it?
Oh, I already say this inside the doc. The whole reason I didn't say this shit publicly is because a lot of people, the only investment I had in the communities was in the Mr. Girl Discord community, and I had a bunch of people nipping at my heels because I just got back from a break off of not being a moderator where I punished a bunch of people in the process, and I wasn't trying to start shit.
Like
you realize
Lavlune.
it seems more like you were trying to open a channel of communication, like a quote unquote sliding into the DMs. It seems more like
I know that phrase. I know that phrase.
Yes. Yes. Okay, that's reasonable. This seems like sliding into the DMs, certainly. I think that's a good way to characterize it, right? Sliding into DMs, low pressure, and then turn up the temperature as time goes on. I don't know. That's the way I'm reading these messages.
I mean, it seems like it would start more conflict instead of just like being casually like LMFAO. None of these people know shit about BDSM or like how to get somebody to be interested in you. Like that's not starting shit.
Oh, wait. How would it start shit to confront somebody in private so the entire rest of the server does not know that I'm specifically diminishing their opinions in the process?
Well, because you had known Lav for a little while at this point, right?
No. She joined the server. I think she joined the server on May 14th. If I time it out correctly. I can't remember from all the evidence I had for the doc. But I think she had been in the server for 10 days by the time that this happens. So a while is like a really big stretch.
You said that like when she joined, she was like trying to
We're gonna read that.
Be like super horny and like get everybody to her OnlyFans or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So there's no genuineness coming from her. She's not genuinely doing any of this shit.
Yes, and I point out that she was getting more involved in the community, which means there was more genuine interaction, just not for this type of subject.
Okay, I've got the timeline here. This is SIC's version of the timeline, so take that into account, okay? Bear that in mind. The entire timeline, 2022, February. Lav calls Destiny a sexy professor in DMs. May 14th. Lav joins the Mr. Girl server. May 23. Isex Lav. June 4th. Isan Lav nice messages. June 8th. Revenge porn I delete account. So that's the revenge porn incident we were looking at or talking about a second ago. July. Cygnus Lav drama. This is when Lav and Cygnus was being... Listen, I can't explain it all. It's on my channel if you want to watch it. It's also in the documentary. August 14th, Cream and Chud Lav panel. I make new account. August 25th, I tell Mr. Girl to platform Lav knowers. He suggests doc. September, I learn all the crazy Lav shit. September 25th, I asked Lav for our old logs to include in the video. So, obviously, we'll go over that when we go over the twit longer. November 10th, Lav Mr. Girl Weinstein accusation. November 11th, doc releases. Chud watches it. So that's the proposed timeline from SIC about what happened. So that's the alleged timeline.
Okay, but you engage with her on this type of subject.
Because she brought it up. Yes, this was probably one of the first times she even brought up some kind of like negative situation or problem with Connor McDonald, CMO of the Ridge.
Okay, so she brought it up publicly. You brought it up with her privately.
Yes.
Because this is something that you were invested in more than...
Listen, I got to be honest with you, okay? I don't know if I like these little Connor McDonald memes anymore from SIC. I don't know about that, man. That comes across as a bit cringe with everything that's happened.
Than you would be with like a normal message in the server of somebody wanting help. Why?
What do you mean more invested in? I feel like things are being attributed to me that are not like congruent with what I was actually thinking at the time.
Well, because I don't know if you're like unaware of what you were thinking at the time. If there's like a disconnect because like you hate Lav so much now. Or
no,
if it's, like...
the only reason I ever messaged her privately was because the entire Mr. Girl server had a problem with even being able to keep women who weren't toxic inside of the community, because anytime they approached these types of subjects, it was like met in the weirdest fucking ways, or I don't know how to say it.
I can understand and like potentially believe that, but I'm curious like how it actually like it got explicitly sexual between you two, like where like not just talking about sex stuff, but like you guys getting horny. How did that start?
Because we both invited that behavior. We're talking about what I said I was going to.
Who invited that behavior first?
I think we both did. I don't know.
That's not how text messages work. So like one person sends one.
Like
normally
who would be
one.
the first flirtee, so to speak?
Yeah.
Oh, Sick
That would
open
be
DMs
her.
with her.
Yes, I did. Nobody's
Doesn't matter,
disagreeing that I messaged her first.
Yeah, and what did
Nobody's
you message her
disagreeing
about?
with
What was
that.
it? How did your messages with her start?
She deleted a DM, so who knows? I don't know if that's a fair assessment. You know, it seems like he's sliding into the DMs, as they say.
Oh.
He just said all of that. Just listen. Jesus Christ.
I'm asking him to clarify for me now.
Who's trying to drill down to the bitty bits?
And you come interrupt and be like, "Oh, let's go back to the
No.
fucking beginning."
Oh, this is good. This is
No,
good.
no, no, no,
How
no.
did those
The
messages
whole-
start?
Let him
whole-
cook. Let him cook.
Okay, I'm ignoring you, Queeman.
Oh, okay, because
yes.
you know that if the messages started with you going in and being like, "Let me give you some advice," then that's the whole fucking point, bro.
Yes, but
Okay,
I
so
already
what
put it
did you
inside of the twit longer, dumbass, that's not what I had offered in the first place.
What? No, you went in and said, "Hey, I'm just saying, don't get your advice from the Mr. Girl server. They're all
Yes!
virgins." Yeah.
Yes!
So, bro, that is what I'm
That's not
saying.
him
You're
saying
going
I
in there
should
and
give
tacitly implying that, bro, that you're
No,
going to be the
that's
one
not
to give
true.
advice. That is absolutely true.
True. 'Cause, like,
If the shit he opened the DMs with is that shit about being like, "Hey, I'm just
hey,
saying,
yes,
I'm
he
setting this
opened the
boundary."
DMs, but that is not being sexual. In fact, he could give her advice on
Right.
this subject that was like not a sexual, like a reciprocal sexual relationship.
I am saying to you that he's
I mean, that's true, but I do, you know, the fact it escalated to sexual communication so quickly, it does suggest to me that, you know, that was, you know, sliding into the DM. Like, you never slide into someone's DMs and straight away start bringing up sexual shit, right? Because that would be, you know, that's not a very good way of like drawing attention from a woman. Normally they're going to be put off by that. So you go in with something softer, and then over time, you know, if there's a connection there, you might eventually escalate it to the point. But, you know, obviously in this case, it happened extremely quickly within the matter of minutes, or 20, 30 minutes or so. So yeah, I think it's possible that, very, very probable that there was a back in the back of his mind, he's thinking about that.
he sees her talking about sex in a public text channel. He's like, "Oh, here's a hot woman talking about sex in a public text channel. I'm sure
I'll be
she's
getting tomorrow after work, right?
in the DMs as well, pulling a little
sorry.
price tactic."
No, we
the
can do that.
DMs.
Honestly, Koyman, why the fuck do you interrupt right now when I'm trying to drill down to like what actually happened?
Okay,
It's like
because
you're just
this
saying
is
nonsense. It
because
doesn't
this
even
is
fucking
no.
matter.
This is just facts. This is just facts.
Okay, yeah, this, like, there's obviously a disagreement here between the jury or the judges. I don't fucking know. Like, I don't know, man. That's obviously not helping matters. I mean, I think obviously Sick is being dishonest about the start, but obviously Boots is also trying to like establish, well, beyond that though, obviously it could be that he went in with a thought in the back of his mind, but who like escalated the conversation to sexuality first? You know, it seems like Sick was the one that was pushing it forward more. Obviously, yes, there's the deleted message aspect to take into account. But yeah, it seems pretty clear that based on what we've got, at least, that Sick was the one that was escalating the sexual side of things.
You're not saying anything.
I am saying that Sick started the flirting.
Okay, yeah,
Sick is
yes,
saying
everybody
Laz
knows.
started the
No,
flirting.
you're not saying. Okay, so flirting is not saying don't listen to these people about sex advice.
Going
That's not-
into someone's DMs and opening
No,
it up,
it's not.
trying to talk about sex, is flirting.
He's not trying to talk about sex. He's saying don't talk about sex with these people. I'm trying to look. Okay, yeah, you're like 19, right? So like you have no idea.
Yeah,
Oh my
How
God.
to talk
That's
to
it.
people.
Oh no! He's breaking down
like-
before our
Let me
eyes.
just read here. Let me just read. This is what he said.
Wait, can I fucking finish the line of questions that I was asking? It's important. I'm trying to figure out who started this shit and when
People
it started.
always mean the exact words they're saying, and they're never trying to deceptively bait people in sexual conversations online.
What?
Go ahead,
You're
Boots.
saying that Sick actually meant it when he said,
No,
"Don't."
I don't know what Sick meant because I have no idea when the fuck any of the actual like sexual shit started. I'm trying to ask questions to figure it out. But you're interrupting me to say like nonsense just to fucking roast Sick for no reason. Like to just
I don't
repeat
even
the
know if
same
you're
shit that
listening.
we
I
already
actually
knew
don't
that he
think you're
said in the
listening.
fucking
I
tweet
actually
longer in the
don't think
first
you're
place.
listening. I just
Oh,
don't think
no.
you're listening. But carry on.
Clayman's just saying that the first message was already that. Like,
Yes.
pretty clearly.
Yes, I know.
Who are you?
Well, I think so I think like Sick isn't agreeing biting that bullet, but I think we can all agree. Well, obviously, maybe Boots disagrees. It like at the very least, at the back of his mind, that's what's going on, right? But then what Boots is trying to establish is something different because, you know, at what point did this like sexual escalation occur? Based on the messages we've got, it does look like Sick is the one that is pushing forward the sexual conversation more so than Lav. So I don't know, like I think Sick needs to at least accept at some point he was looking to escalate the sexual nature of the conversation. I think that much is obvious, right?
I know, but you're not
it's
making a convincing
relevant?
argument.
You're not saying
You just
because
Okay,
I'm saying
listen.
that there is no circumstance in which you cold DM someone from a public VC being like, don't talk to these nerds about sex.
Yeah, I love the fucking voice you do before it just to make sure that everybody
He's
in the call
right.
dismisses
He's
it.
right
Just-
here.
just
I hate to say it.
Just to make sure that you don't listen
I
to
have
any
made
of
my point.
these
I have made my point.
idiots.
Boots,
just-
say
oh
what you
my
want to
God.
say. Go.
Just wait. Just to clarify, it wasn't a VC. They were talking in text.
Oh, I mean
and
text
then-
chat. Shut up. It doesn't matter. Boots,
I mean,
which-
it matters to me because you're getting a lot of details
just-
wrong.
Look, okay, so he sees this as his community that he is like kind of been ousted from, and everybody's really mad because of the Mr. Girl mod drama. So he doesn't want to talk and chat and like get everybody super aggro at him again. But he still cares about the community. So he messages a new person in the community who is being like sexual and trying to get sexual advice to say, hey, this is not something that you should do in this community. None of these people fucking know anything, even though they pretend to. That is not like a super controversial thing to do. That is not flirting. It can be flirting, but that in and of itself is not flirting.
I don't buy it. No, I don't buy it.
I don't care if you buy it or not.
fucking-
You don't send that message.
But but the thing is Boots has got a point here because I agree with this idea that Sick has got an idea of like what he wants to do with it, but then what's happened? But like it happened very quickly, and Sick seems very forthright in putting across his sexting shit. But like, what else happened? Like, this is why I feel like we're giving too much leeway to Lav. Like, what happened between? Like, is there something we're not seeing? Do you know what I mean? It's like, I just think that it's possible that Sick was like, I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to start talking about sexy shit, including mentioning fucking rape, okay? But it's also possible that Lav has deleted something, left something out. We've got one clear point where she deleted a message where we don't know exactly what that series of messages meant exactly after that. You know, she says one thing, he says another. So I think what Boots is trying to get at is, well, when did the escalation of the sexual stuff occur? And now obviously we've derailed into like, going back over the initial messages. So I don't know, this is getting a bit messy.
You
Unless
do
you have
is say
sexual
that it is
intentions.
possible that happened another way, and I'm trying to move on.
I really want to
to
just give me a
something
moment.
that matters more than this.
You don't
No,
send that
no.
message unless you have sexual intentions. That's
100%. Yeah, totally agree.
Oh, crazy! I should check my DMs and see how many messages I've gotten from people that don't have sexual intentions with me.
I
Lee
wouldn't
does.
disagree about that, but
Okay, so at this point, I think Sick has left because of the absolute fiasco that just occurred. Oh my god. Okay, well, Sick ran. Sick slipped away.
Please show those, actually.
yeah, please. We'll analyze that. Analyze that claim.
Wait, what about you? You've DM'd me, Koyman. Do you have sexual intentions with me?
Yeah, but I don't
Not
dare
about-
you like.
Okay, I've heard enough of that argument. If you want to watch the rest of that, I'll link this. There's obviously coverage before, coverage after, which you can go and check out if you want to see my Discord's take on the drama. Okay, so there we go. Go and watch that another time. Okay, so we're now going to move on to 6 Twitlonger, which is quite the hefty beast. But I promise you, there are some good moments in this which you're going to get a kick out of, okay? And then we'll look at some of the Twitter responses. But first, I need to take a very quick break. And also, where the hell... Oh. Okay, I think... It's literally just around the corner. Okay, give me like 5 minutes, okay? I'll be right back. I think I can hear it outside, maybe. Anyway, check out the latest video. Why is it that there's... Oh no, watch this one. This one's funny. Like, who the f would want to work with this retard? Seriously. Minorities shouldn't have rights. Based position. I'm for it. Oh my god, no way! Look, they're doing the thing! Do these people know what a fact is? Oh my god, man. Oh my god, who cares?
This whole thing has just made me realize that, like, white people are not serious. Yes, white supremacy is actually at the root of everything.
Strategically going after Professor Flowers was the first time I sensed vibes from him.
Also, the idea that these disgusting online freaks are worth nothing. Like, honestly, how many videos have we had of some black bread tuber complaining about the whites in breadtube? This must be like the 5th or 6th video about it at this point. Like, dude, what the fuck? Right, so we got this video here. This is called The White Leftist Industrial Complex, okay? I've seen quite a few videos like this. Now, I'll be honest with you, there is one point I've seen a clip of that from the outside looking in looked pretty racist, but we'll see what happens, okay? We'll see what happens. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Content warning, racism, transphobia, misogynoir used unironically, and a whole lot of caucasity. I'm going to start a video, okay? It's going to be called The Problem with the Blacks, all right? The Problem with the Blacks. And then it's going to say at the bottom a whole lot of, you know, I can't say because of TOS, sadly, but you know what I mean? That's what we're going to do next time, all right? Anyway, let's continue. Here we go. I can't believe I'm watching this.
To some, the title of this video will be seen as hyperbolic. I and many other people of color and queer folks don't see it that way, due to our understanding of leftism with the intersectional lens.
Okay. Let's go. We're 20 seconds in. We're 20 seconds in and we're already getting some banging memes in there.
Leftism that isn't based in intersectionality is upholding white supremacy. It ignores the BIPOC contributions such as microaggression coined by Chester Pierce in 1970.
I knew this was going to be a soy nod fucking fiasco. I knew this was going to be soy nods left, right and centre, I could tell. We're already 30 seconds in. Come on.
To intersectionality from Kimberly William Crenshaw in 1989. So much of American leftism is based on the collective fight against systematic racism that Black, Indigenous, Latine, and others have been on the front lines of.
Yo!
Knowing who Angela Davis...
Wait, hang on a second. First of all, are they... Wait, hang on.
Much of American leftism is based on the collective fight against systematic racism that Black...
Is Lona Box white? I thought he was of like Middle Eastern descent, and he doesn't. I mean, listen, I'll be honest with you. If I ran into a guy like this in a bar, you know, I would probably be able to clock that he's like not, you know, like white, you know. Do you know what I mean? Like you could probably be able to tell, right? But my point is like it feels weird to like refer to Lona Box as a white leftist because I don't know if like even he's white presenting. I don't know if he himself sees himself as white, but I don't know either way.
Black, Indigenous, Latine, and others have been on the front lines of. Knowing who Angela...
Also, this is Shark Zero, right? That's this guy's name. This guy's black. This guy's black. But spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. They make some comments about this fella later, which we'll look at.
Davis is, but not reading or applying her calls to be anti-racist is grifting at best. Before I go further, let's break down what the white leftist industrial complex looks like. The white leftist industrial complex consists of varying traits, behaviors, and dog whistles. Commonly, you'd see them feeling vindicated when pushing misinformation, attacking the very black and queer people that correct their colonizer approach, having an inflated ego when discussing BIPOC issues, focusing more on appearing to be correct than actually having a true understanding, blindly pushing right-wing narratives in terms like woke scold and identity politics.
Okay. Yeah, this Seriously. Do you know what I was thinking when I woke up this morning, right? When I woke up this morning, I thought, do you know what we really need? We need another video from a black leftist complaining about whites. That's what we need. That's what we... I tell you what we're missing out on is some black leftist moaning about whites. I've not... It's been too long, if anything. I tell you what.
It's more common than not for them to lack tangible connections with the communities they state to advocate for. Usually only surrounding themselves with other white people, but some might have their token BIPOC that they weaponize against people of color. If I were to limit my description...
Everyone's got a token BIPOC they weaponize. Yeah, mine's called Kwame. He's locked up. He's locked up in the cupboard. I've not had to use him recently. Okay, I've used him before when I've been off camera, but I've not had to... Kwame's locked in the cupboard. If I need to get some points and BIPOC points, I'll just bring him out on his leash, on his chain. Whip marks all up his back, obviously chained up, you know.
Description to a handful of words and phrases. I'd say arrogant, cognitive dissonance, insufficient contrition, argumentative, ruthless, and self-serving. This can make doing work with them very difficult with their consistent struggles with allyship, lacking proper etiquette in BIPOC-led spaces.
Like, who the fuck would want to work with this retard? Seriously. Like, who out there is going to watch this that isn't already on board and go, yeah, you sound great to work with? Like, who's going to be like, yeah, I want to spend effort and time to work with you. You sound fucking insufferable to work with and engage with on any angle. It sounds like it would be an endless nightmare of identity politics, woke skull bullshit. And before you say, oh, that's a right-wing term, I don't care. Good. I'm a right-winger now. Based. Yes, fuck you. Okay? Minorities shouldn't have rights. Based position. I'm for it. You're making me want to put in place laws that restrict the rights of minorities because of how fucking garbage your video is. Okay? That's where I am now. It's your fault. Fuck me. This shit's so
wanting
annoying.
To be the loudest in the room. Surely in 2023, we should be able to expect so much more from our cis and white queer leftists. I and others are done entertaining their strawmans and moving forward spending our time on genuine leftist causes like combating Cop City, anti-trans bills, and the demonization of woke. I can keep this going all day, but let's get into this caucasity. Before I dive in, I need to define some terms.
Okay, this feels unfair because there is obviously a couple of words you could use to describe the opposite of caucasity, but I think that would be a problem, wouldn't it?
Terms and give some context for the foolishness you'll hear. Woke school, genderqueer, and identity politics, shortened to ITPOL, are dog whistles that they enjoy weaponizing against marginalized people. Woke school being an offshoot of woke used disingenuously by right-wingers. Like Erica Badu said, it's just another way to say black or thug, let alone woke being AAVE. Genderqueer is a word that has different meanings person to person. But the way I see it used is equivalent to a queer version of woke school. Lastly, ITPOL, or better known as identity politics, is the most mask-off racist term used by these flock.
Identity politics is a racist term. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. The levels we're getting to now. Identity politics is now a racist term. Dude, okay. Fuck. Dude, Amazon are like amazing at everything. However, their "you're the next stop" shit is fucking insane. Okay, I'm just going to start the tweet long, I guess, and you know. Oh, I'll have to go get it in a sec if they knock on my door. That's so annoying. Oh, well. Anyway, there's the video if you want to react, if you want to watch it, okay? Very true. Very true. Right. Let's get back to it, okay? So, Sick responded with a twit longer. Okay? So let's get into it. Now, it's quite verbose, and there's a lot to it. So we'll just rattle through it as best we can, okay? Hey guys, it's Sick. I made the Lav doc exposing Lav and her lies. Lav recently today posted a bunch of screenshots of DMs between her and I in a private server that was originally an offshoot of the Mr. Girl Discord server. I intend to go through these messages and detail missing context. If she would, it would be welcome to release the full extent of the logs, especially from anything from my recollection is incorrect. The title is Sick. Oh my god, I didn't see the title. SICUnchained and the Sorcerer's Bone. I mean, what are you doing? Why is he doing stuff like this? Why has he dealt with this so bad? Like, just put out a tweet longer that you want to respond with, and just deal with it just down the line. I don't know, man. It just seems like just deal with it down the line. I don't know. This just seems like unnecessary and just doesn't. I mean, I like the meme. It's the kind of meme that one might make, but like, I don't know. I just feel like Sick just is kind of half trying to joke about it and half trying to take it seriously. And then he's like soaring out on Twitter about it, which we'll look at in a sec. Like, to me, I would just go, right, these are the allegations. Here's my side of it, and move on. I just think that stuff like this is just not helping his case at all. Anyway, I intend to go through these messages in detail missing context. If she would... Oh, we've read that bit already. January 2022. In the past, the Mr. Girl Discord server was a server that I'd personally been a mod of. And for a short period, been the muscle behind a lot of the bans. Okay, calling yourself a muscle... This is only a small thing. Calling yourself muscle when you're a fucking Discord mod is extremely cringe, and do not do that, okay? That is very cringe. Muscle behind a lot of the bans, decision-making, and helping organise the meat of the rules. I was not a streamer nor a Discord user before this. I was just a Destiny viewer who happened to like Mr. Girl's content and joined Mr. Girl's server upon announcing it at an advice and confession show where viewers could go on and vent details about their personal lives to the benefit of Mr. Girl and the growth of his platform. Eventually, I got sick of moderating for Mr. Girl and left the community temporarily because the head moderator, Baby, would not remove my role. April-May 2022. I left the Mr. Girl community sometime in February and came back in late April, early May. Shortly thereafter, a girl named Brat Mitzvah joined a Discord server. You know Brat's Mitzvah as Lav. Without hesitation, she starts flirting with everyone in the text channels of the server. She is goaded by me and a few friends to join VC to tell her to fuck off from promoting her OnlyFans, to which she says she's not. But one Google search basically entirely disproved that point. Over time, Lav became more ingrained in the VC side of the community in ways similar to how you saw on relevant streamers' streams. Destiny, Erudite, Chud Logic, Brittany, Simon. There would be conflicting statements and debates, crazy comments made directly towards women, victimization of herself no matter whether she was willfully engaging in a behavior or the source. Eventually... Okay, this bit is interesting. Eventually, Mr. Girl's mods became overbearing, they're not without reason. The overbearing nature was actually in response to a private locked VC that happened within the confines of the Mr. Girl server. I and 10 other individuals were drinking in a VC and had coaxed the most drunk of us to drink... Sorry. Thank you for the Amazon advice. Appreciate the bits, but this bit's important. I and 10 other individuals were drinking in a VC and had coaxed the most drunk of us to drink his own piss for $20 so he could go and buy more beer to last himself the night. What? What? What is this? I thought, I'd seen the worst of it, but this is pretty insane. I mean, I don't like. How do you even react to that? That is like, I cannot fathom what, like, I cannot imagine being in a VC, even if you were getting drunk and then trying to get someone to drink their piss. That, it's not as bad as it, but it reminds me of like Maximilian trying to get that autistic guy tweet his own shit. It's like, we're getting there. We're getting there, aren't we? It's just insane behavior. Also, do you really need to mention this? I think one of Sic's problems is he overshares quite a lot, which, you know, like, some things don't need to be said publicly. Some things don't need to be said publicly. Let's just put it that way, okay? As a result, the Mr. Girl, you could just say there was a controversial incident and it led to this. I don't think that Baby is going to be like, oh, can you just clarify it was because of the piss? Do you know what I mean? Like, just let it... Just say there was a controversial incident that led to this, and that leave it at that. As a result, the Mystical Hemel Baby had taken away Facecam permissions and threatened to remove all VC channels unless all members of the private VC were outed and Discord users would agree to self-moderate when mods weren't present to be able to. This situation would be later known as Pissgate. Despite resolving this issue, the main VC community inhabitants occupied another server known as Bitch Palace. The rest of this twitlonger will entirely take place inside the Bitch Palace server. I don't know what to tell you, man. The DMs. This is just insane. This is exactly what I was saying earlier. I didn't know the ins and outs of it. Right? But, like, this is like literally too fucked for Mr. Girl's Discord server. Not even Mr. Girl's Discord server is permissive of you drink their own piss, get sidelined into another little weird community. Anyway, the DMs. I'm going to lay out my recollection of the entirety of the DMs. So this all takes place in a matter of 2 to 3 weeks across probably about 3 to 4 conversations total. And I end up deleting my account and leaving Discord entirely with no intentions on looking back by the end of it. At some point in time on the 23rd of May, Lav is asking for advice in the general chat of either the Mr. Girl or Bitch Palace Discord. This advice, as far as I remember it, was her wanting to know how to handle the fact that a husband-to-be, Connor McDonald, CMO of the Ridge... Like, bro, just cut this out at this point. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? It's like this weird thing where he's trying to simultaneously Giga Chad, but then not willing to bite the bullet on the shit that he's accused of doing. Like... It's one or the other, man. You either Giga Chat it and say, you know, one thing, but then you just, I don't know, this just comes across as very cringe. Especially with the nature of the conversation that you've had, where it's like, you're talking about how this guy should fuck her, basically. Anyway. Was not being very aggressive in the bedroom and would leave all the pursuit aggression up to Lav. While I didn't want to dissuade the other members inside the Mr. Girl Discord server, I decided to message Lav saying that most of the other members of this Discord had little to no experience with sex, and while they had good intentions in offering advice given the contents of the messages, she should really be asking her questions elsewhere, as they're the last people you want relationship advice from. Okay, that just sounds like cope. Anyway, let's see if it's because he, you know, let's see what he says here. I DM'd her specifically for 3 reasons. I was right. Most of the members she was talking to weren't in relationships or self-admitted incels or just outright giving bad advice. I didn't want to dissuade or call out other members, as I've been the target of criticism due to my Nazi-like judgment of rule breaks from my time as a moderator. Just say, what this, just, I don't know what to tell you, man. Just say the thing. Like, why are you fucking, like, I don't know. It gives the impression he thinks a lot of himself. I mean, even if we accepted this as like a true statement of the situation, like, it comes across like he thinks like so much of himself, which is cringe in and of itself. But then it's also like, it's quite clear that when you sent the message, you at least had some interest in a sexual element to it, at the very, very least. So why all this cope? Just cop to it, you know? I didn't want to dissuade or call out other members, as I've been the target of criticism due to my Nazi-like judgment of rule breaks from the time as a moderator. Lav had faced a lot of ridicule within the community, and despite me being a part of that ridicule, I thought it fair to direct away from the shit relationship advice. He was sliding into a DMs. Just say that if you want to save a bit of embarrassment. You know, everyone knows what that means. We all know what that means. Just say, yeah, I slid into a DMs. That's it. Except when they say we get all this fucking giga cope. I don't know, man. It just... it'd be shorter as well. It'd be shorter. It'd be a lot easier to read. It'd be a lot easier to read as well. Anyway, in response, Lav had asked me if I had any advice for how to get her man, Connor McDonald, CMO of Ridge. Stop. Okay. Yeah, that meme is ringing a bit hollow. To be a bit more aggressive in the bedroom, make the first move. Because I had a girlfriend at the time, I told her we could have that conversation, but I wouldn't give it in more... But I would... Okay. This is six twit longer. Because I had a girlfriend at the time, I told her we could have that conversation, but I would give it in more of a step-by-step scenario, much like a tutorial. Dude. Much like a tutorial. Prima fucking game guide. How to get your husband to spank you. I don't know, man. This is fucking... Just, dude, what are you doing? Like, to me, it's... What is it? Occam's razor. Like, he messaged her because he thought she was attractive. And, you know, there was a sexual interest there. And he wanted to escalate the conversation to go down that direction with it. And that I wanted to lay some groundwork for boundaries. While I didn't care much at the time, considering my relationship were otherwise in turmoil due to circumstances outside of the online world, Lav had sort of mocked and brushed the boundaries talk off to the side. It's like, yeah, sure, you can say that, but then you're like jumping in with both feet as well, you know? Like going full on with the sexting shit. So you kind of, there's like an accusatory element to this. And it's like, but you we're jumping in so, like this twit longer, like, unfortunately for Sick, doesn't look good and looks like a lot of cope, rather than what I think is the very obvious conclusion from everything here, which is that, you know, Sick was sexually interested, reached out to her, and wanted the conversation to go the way that it did, and it did because he took it there, you know? Perhaps with her direction somewhat, sure, but like certainly he, you know, took it there. There's no rape here. No one's been raped. These two messages are me following up on goading, coercing, Connor McDonald, CM Overage. Okay, I'm just going to disregard. I can't. This is just too cringe, man. Stop doing the fucking meme. Connor McDonald, CM Overage, into being more aggressive with Lav. There are a few things I want to point out. Lav is enjoying herself here. This is not a one-sided conversation. Despite me approaching in all the messages, she was being receptive and responding playfully as we're engaging in a conversation she wanted to happen. Sick did the 2-hour documentary about Lav. I mentioned Lav behaving in a way to make Connor McDonald seem feel like he's the one raping her. Dude. Lav does not show disapproval of this, takes it as earnest advice, and we continue. I just don't think that that's reflected in the messages. Unless there's giga deleted messages here or something like that. That's the only saving grace I could think of. But any belt or tool or anything else is just going to add a layer between you and him. And you want him to feel like he's the one raping you. I'm still here, by the way. Just finished my food. You there? Yes, sis. Lol right now. Yes, right now. I accept that there's like probably some messages deleted here. But... this is also like, what, 30 minutes after they've started talking too. You think Lav's playing along? I don't read it in the same way, personally. I don't read it in the same way. Unless there are deleted messages here, like, this reads more like, you know, he's proposing this weird rape fantasy thing. I think he claims that she was asking about the CNC rape stuff. Possibly she deleted that, you know. But, you know, based on what's here, it just seems like, you know, he's kind of proposing that. And, you know, she's responding in like a very, like a way that to me would be like, yeah, she's not into this shit, you know? So yeah, I don't know if I agree with this framing at all. Lav does not show disapproval of this, takes it as earnest advice, and we continue. Okay. Me saying, I'll try not to get jealous of him, was me playing into a playful banter and sexual comments like, I'm throwing ice water on you through the interweb. But then I read those comments more so like, hey, you're being a bit horny, chill out. But yeah, not the best response. I just think like, there's like, it's like, what's that meme of someone who's explaining loads versus the Giga Chad? Yeah, I wanted to sex with her. I don't know, man. That to me just seems like the correct, most obvious interpretation of all of this. Anyway, remember when I said that I was part of the ridicule Lav was receiving from Mr. Geldensians? Well, this is true. I did not like her arguments and debates, had annoyance with her every VC she joined becoming a conversation about her, and generally did not like that she tended to start shit with every person in the Mr. Girl main and splinter servers. Despite the mild attractiveness... Oh, for fuck's sake. You don't get to do this. I'm sorry, Sick, but you don't get to make these jokes and these memes. It just comes across like, I don't know, it's like this weird blend of like... This just adds to the you know, this just adds to the narrative of you being this scorned lover. Despite the mild attractiveness of a mid-Jewish, Moroccan, Native American, Latina, 70% European pussy. She was a pain in the ass to deal with, and most of the VC community was in assorted VCs longer than most streamers you watch stream in a given week. I tell you what it feels like. It feels like he's trying to tap into the classic anti-Lav memes to, you know, soften the blow that is coming from the people that are looking at this going, yo, Sick, what the fuck? That's what it comes across like to me. And I just think, you know, it would be far better for him to just cut that shit out, focus on what matters, focus on, you know, the material that's, I don't know, it just comes across wrong to me, you know? I don't mind jokes and memes about stuff, but it just hits a bit different when, you know, he's the one that's on the hook for this shit. Okay, we've read all these already. Oh, wait, what? I messed up there. If I remember correctly from these DMs, Lav, I, and others have been arguing regarding beef shab with another sex worker from the Mr. Girl server, Bellini. A lot of the bickering was really disgusting and neither side was innocent. Bellini would be the person I would eventually intimately talk to alongside Lav for a short time. Yes, I was batting for both teams. In this DM, I had just gotten done trying to ameliorate Lav by sending her a supportive message complimenting her. I don't what the kind of message was about. I bring up treating her like a fuck toy, specifically in reference to the CNT tutorial conversation sex we had exchanged the night before. She leaves me hanging. I'm sure she likes to pretend this is because it has made her uncomfortable or something. I had never bullied her except on a misogynistic sexual basis, and she actively encouraged that behavior from everyone, me included. If she claims it's made her uncomfortable, I don't care. I don't believe her. She's being just as playful in these messages to the point of asking me to bully her because she doesn't want kind Sick. And is that... Yeah, that's what we've seen already. The top DM is me getting mad at Lav because in a VC between other Mr. Girl members and I, she states that the only person I've ever gotten sexual messages from is Sick. While I was at work and couldn't respond, I was AFK doing duties. Obviously, she enjoyed the control. Like, you know, this is like quite a heavy insertion of narrative. Like, I mean, I think she just wanted to fuck with you. Maybe if that's what he means, maybe, I don't know. But it just seems like, I don't think it's, to me, it just seems like she wanted to fuck with you, you know? Second message is me sending Lav a supportive message when I was working overtime to problem solve the drama happening between her and Bellini that neither side was willing to admit fault in. Jesus Christ, all this like extra detail just is so unnecessary. Fuck me, no wonder it's so long. I do not stand by the statements of that message. I did not like Lav already at the time. She was annoying as fuck. I only sent that because Lav had also just come off a week break from the Misty Girl community because of harassment from another Discord user, Patsy. And it seemed like overkill for people to rag on her the minute she came back. Now, for the reason my old account was deleted, the other girl I was sexting, Bellini, had one nude picture of me from our DMs. I never sent another, but regardless, it was there. She would regularly delete messages she had posted as a way to annoy me or to pretend she hadn't sent them in the first place. Super frustrating behaviour. We sexted for about 3 days before she got really annoying, wanting me every bit of attention. At some point, Bellini and I started arguing, and she didn't like that I would suggest that she, a woman who lives in France, can't know everything about her daughter who lives somewhere in Cali. I take about 200 now deleted screenshots of Bellini and I's conversation and tell her that I took pictures of our DMs, as she's a habit of talking about DMs, misrepresenting them, and also deleting proof that they had happened. In telling her that I deleted our DMs, she decided to save the one nude I had outside those messages. I didn't know this, but I'd stopped talking to Bellini. When I would come into VCs and act normal, she would leave, or if Bellini was drunk enough, continuously ask me to take my shirt off and dance for her. I wouldn't, but she would ask more than a handful of times. Okay, what are these here? Oh. These are the messages we've already seen. Okay, I thought it was going to be something else. Bellini would eventually DM me asking if we could bury the hatchet. I told her no. She threatened to leak my nude if I didn't tell her the hatchet was buried and we were friends. In response, I obviously told her to fuck off and that she started posting inside a Lav server general chat, a server Lav I had complete control over. Bellini would start a super cropped version of my nude, would start with a super cropped version of my nude and delete the message, then post less cropped versions of it. I didn't know what to do, so I panic deleted my account after blocking everyone, reactivated my account to talk to Lav about the situation of the conversation, the previous 2 screenshots with her. Lav didn't want to ban Bellini, and I didn't want to stay in the community with Bellini or with people who are okay with blackmail, extortion, revenge porn. After all was said and done, Lav only wanted to talk it out and kept telling me it wasn't that big of a deal. Having an actual nude of me out there meant a lot. I wasn't a sex worker, I wasn't a streamer, I didn't care at the time to have any sort of platform. It was just an entirely uncomfortable situation I was not expecting to ever be roped into. Some additional words from Lav. I mean, this is just, I don't know, man. Like, yeah, it's kind of shitty to do it, but I just, what has this got to do with anything, man? It just seems like, you know, I just think this is just superfluous to requirements, you know? But yeah, obviously a lesson to not send news on Discord. Some additional word from Lav after that situation before I deleted an alt I made to go into a server and yell at people like an autist. Sick, you're just horny and having fun, it's fine. Cheating is okay. Is sick okay? There are worse things. Bellini only warning, don't post revenge porn in chat or photos of another person without consent. All other revenge porn encouraged. No revenge porn of people in community. Jesus. That's pretty insane. Keep in mind, Lav encouraging revenge porn is quite cute after crying on stream about how she feels so violated after people found photos and videos she consensually put out in public and wanted me to face Bellini after she was psychologically fucking me over with my nudes is fucking crazy. I can understand being frustrated with the nude situation and you know, all this other stuff's happening in the Discord. I just think focus on the material is situation. This all seems unnecessary context to understand the kind of core of what's going on here. I want one thing to be noticed by everyone who has ever interacted with Lav. This whole entire DM leak is completely antithetical to what she communicates. regarding CNC, BDSM, and violent behaviors inside of the bedroom. Not that big of a deal, but I imagine due to her political takes regarding sexual violence, her deranged supporters will assume she's an unwilling recipient of my messages. She's not. Okay. Like, you know, I can feel my anti-Lav perspective being tempted by this, but you know, a lot of these people are just random Discord weirdos. That's it. Why didn't I disclose the DMs between Lav and I before releasing my video? Important to note, since there will be a narrative spewed that I made my documentary exposing Lav as a response to her denying my simpery or some other disingenuous or false interpretation of the situation. I always fully intended to include my DMs with Lav inside of the documentary. I had initially asked her for the logs of our DMs from my now deleted account, but she ignored that in favour of pleading with my not to release a video at all. I mean, it's good that he asked for this. Okay, because it does show that, like, he wanted to give the full context of what had happened. But obviously, Lav is not just going to be like, oh, yeah, sure, here you go, babes. Here's those DMs of that time we had that weird kind of sexting thing, right? Good luck with the documentary. Obviously, she is going to be like, what? Fuck you. Hey, can I have all the DMs between us? I'm working on a takedown video. Embarrassing. Just asking. I'll leave you be then. What's in the video? What do you mean, like, what I'm intending on addressing? Yeah, because Patsy said he wants me deplatformed. A lot of stuff, that's a long list. Do you want me displatformed? Yeah, Patsy's not exactly the best behaved, and despite what he wants, that doesn't speak for me or my intention. So what's the intention? I'd actually really appreciate it if you wouldn't do this. I'm not even really online anymore. Oh. Oh! That turned out to be a little bit of a lie, didn't it? I don't really stream, and the last thing I need is more people jumping on me. It's really not fun. If you want to talk to me about something you disagree with, like did personally to you or something, why wouldn't we do that? My intention to get the truth out there, and I understand, but it's important when you implicate and convince people to damn others in communities based on the things you said. You can't just show up, make up stuff, and then disappear and assume that corrects things. I know it's not fun. I'll be honest, making a video was a big undertaking that I was not ready for. What did I make up? Plenty. Okay, like what? I never damned anyone. This is all like server drama and you're doing a takedown over it. Why wouldn't you just want me to talk to me about it, hold me accountable in Eto or our own little community? Like, why is this becoming bigger than that? I mean, I can attest to Lav not wanting stuff out there that's like negative about her. She was messaging me desperately trying to get me to take a video down, you know, with a strong implication of like suicidality. So yeah, this is definitely, I've seen Lav do this before. Obviously, Lav isn't just going to give the DMs out, but by the same token, you know, it's good that there's evidence that he did try and ask. And I think it's pretty reasonable to assume that it's to, you know, provide full visibility on what happened. So, points to sick on that one at least. I'd always been cordial with Lav in DMs. I'd always tried to offer a modicum of respect in lieu of how our past could change the perception of things. The only reason I'd never made a section regarding Lav and I's past interactions is because before I ever released the video, I intended to again ask her for those logs and to give her one last chance to address any disagreements in the video, provided she had. If you could not tell from the shit editing the video, the audio flubs and some of the obvious mistakes, the video was only a rough draft. I'd already recorded my video 4 times because I did not know how to operate or balance sound settings. It was already late, as I'd originally intended for it to be released by Halloween, hence using Crewmoo's Halloween-themed remix of Ultimate Cooper and the picture of Lav as the thumbnail. The only reason the video ever released in the state it did was because most of Lav's accusations against Destiny up to that point had been pretty mild. But the night before release, Lav went on stream, was told that Mr. Girl said Destiny was like Harvey Weinstein, and Lav responded by saying, if the shoe fits. Because of the nature of some of the content in the video, I decided to release it as is. That night, starting from 11 PM till 5 AM, I'd put together the intro to the video, did the shittest EQ job on the audio known to man, and released the video without double checking anything. I wasn't going to wait another day for Lav to make more false accusations against Destiny. The second half of my video was directly aimed at pointing out directly where Lav had already lied about my friends, Cygnus and Bright Conference to streamers such as Destiny, Brittany, Simon, Chud, Logic, Mr. Girl, Abba and Zerka. That was the original intent and motivation behind why I created the Lav doc. The video is entirely aimed offering evidence for what I could prove, and I could not prove or disprove any of Lav's narratives surrounding our conversations. If I did not have the logs, and Lav would not offer them up. I understand why people will want the conflict of interest exposed ahead of time or somewhere along the way. I can understand that, but again, I didn't want to say anything to respond to Lav's characterization of my DMs, as we would argue about ghosts in the past. I mean, yeah, if she wasn't willing to release them, maybe could have included something that just roughly characterized it. Anyway, I don't this fucking twit long is way too long. I don't regret releasing the video in the state it was in. I don't regret not including the part about Lav and I. It's fair to want it in. If I had more time, hopefully that would have made it in. My only regret is that I ever had the thought of entertaining her mid-Jewish pussy. Jesus. There we go. Okay, this is just... Yeah, I mean, again, I think that... I don't know, man. I don't even know what to say about this shit anymore, man. Fuck me. Can Lav come up with a new bit? Well, I wanted to have a little look at the Twitter kind of interaction that happened after this, and then I think we'll move on. Don't you think it's so cool that Sick was altruistic and released a documentary early to save Destiny? I mean, you know, to me, this just reads as he wanted eyes on it, you know? It seems like he was wanting to capitalize on the interest or the discussion that would be happening around Lav. Honestly, I got the timeline so wrong on this. I thought the documentary released way before this, but it did actually release. The dates are the night after the allegations got a lot of traction. It got released. Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I think, yeah, the assessment that Sick was kind of sliding into her DMs and looking to have a kind of sexual conversation with her, to me, seems more realistic than this narrative that he was just doing the right thing and, you know, trying to help her in some way. Is it embarrassing? I mean, you know, it could be that he genuinely thinks that way about it, but to me, my interpretation just seems a lot more reasonable. And I just don't know why he's denying that so much. I don't know. It just seems to me it'd be a lot easier to go, hey, look, guys, listen, yeah, I fucked up. You know, I didn't really know who Lav was at the time. I slid into her DMs. We had a sexual conversation. I you know, led the way. You know, I don't know, whatever you want to say about it, but just say it like that. I don't know. I don't want to like completely accept Lav's framing of things because she has at least deleted at least one message that is provable from the DMs. And there could be more that, you know, shift the assessment in the other direction. But broadly speaking, the DMs paint a picture of a guy sliding into someone's DMs and then quickly moving the conversation in a sexual direction. Yeah, that's my interpretation of the DMs. Even Sick's response where he goes where the deleted messages are, you know, I don't know if that puts enough in there to push my perspective back over to the idea that Lav was totally like reciprocal or something. Oh shit. Right. So back to this. So Sick's responding here. I don't think Phemoid realizes the more DMs she leaks, so long as I haven't lied, she just feels or validates my narrative. And the part she leaves out, Suda confirms the details I talked about that she wouldn't want quite known to value her husband. I don't know if I fully agree with this. I think that the truth would lie in whatever the deleted DMs are, which we're never going to see now. But again, I don't know how much those deleted DMs would prove or disprove in regards to this. So Lav claiming she never asked for any advice. I think we looked at that already. How did you see this as anything other than goading? Yeah, obviously Lav wants to embarrass Sick, but then Lav wants to embarrass Sick because she feels justified because of this documentary that he put out, you know? So to her, she's just responding to Sick being a fucking schizoid. You know? But again, the documentary stands on its own, regardless of whatever the motivation was for Sick doing it. So it's kind of irrelevant. And then, listen, this is where I think Sick really started to lose it. Lav mustering 7 likes out of a 46k followers to accuse the camera being cringe. Thank you for the sub. Yeah, I don't know if this is a bit. At this point, honestly, Sick should have just put out the Twitlonger and left it at that. I think that I like BPD Awareness Month. Come on, man. This is just such a bad look. I don't know. Like, you haven't got the upper hand here. You know, you are acting in a kind of defensive manner. And I think that it's all very well to say stuff like this, but you've got to kind of come out swinging harder than this if you want to do that. And here's Sick. More screens. We'll keep adding them as Connor McDonald, CMO of Ridge, future wife keeps posting. We're both laughing at you. Undelete your messages, please. And then finally, blocked Lav. I'm here to address her, not deal with her. Yeah, Red Penny's right. Sick should have just put out the Twitlonger, ignored her on Twitter. Honestly, unless you can feed the Twitter. I don't really fuck around with Twitter that much anymore. I probably should do it more, to be fair. But honestly, you're best off just making content out of it. You're best off just streaming through it and then doing it that way, because, I just think that getting into these Twitter wars is really dumb. You're better off just going, here's my Twitlonger. Right, let me talk about it, and kind of going from there, That's my take on it anyway. Right. Sorry it took so long to get there, but we're there now. Should we bring Sick on? Let's see what he's got to say. I was umming and ahhing about it, but I want to bring him on for 2 reasons. One, whilst I do have a lot of criticism of Sick, it's unfortunate that it seems like all the interactions he's had have been like incredibly hostile. Whilst I've got a lot of issues with what he's done, I feel like Lab was given like more of a favourable platform to go on. And say a pizza when she spoke to Tom Foolery, from what I understand, I haven't listened to it to be totally clear. So, I just want to hear kind of more his side of the story and see what he's got to say about some of this stuff. And then also on top of that, we can bring some people in. No, I can't watch the Tom stuff because honestly, this is turning into an absolutely insanely long segment and I don't want to spend all fucking day on this shit. Unfortunately, the Tom stuff's going to have to fall by the wayside, sadly. Which is annoying, but it is what it is. Right. Think of the views. Yeah, I think people are going to get a kick out of this. Oh, Lav and Sick spoke on Tom's stream. Okay, there we go. There's 2 chuds. Sick bros. I don't feel so good. Sick. Welcome. You're muted.
Wait, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Why are you laughing, mate? Why are you laughing?
Extremely uncomfortable situation.
Yes, it is a bit fucking uncomfortable, isn't it, mate? I've got people that want your guts for garters. I'm trying to hold them back. I'm trying to, balance everything out here. Listen, mate. What's going on?
Can I concede some points to you real quick?
Yes, please do.
I should have shut the fuck up after the Twitlonger.
Yes. I mean, there's not much we can do about that now, but yeah. I think, you'd agree you've made some real fucking stupid mistakes in dealing with this shit, man. Jesus.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to be fair, I've never dealt with this before.
Sure.
Ever.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, look, there's no use crying over spilt milk. You have, however, heard my coverage. What are your initial thoughts?
One thing that a lot of people are kind of honing in on is that from the messages that are inside of the DMs, they're saying that like Lav is not being receptive. And the reason I'm pointing out that there are like deleted messages, other than the one where it's obvious there was a deleted message, is because she herself admits to goading on the situation, and I don't think she can hold the position that she's goading on the situation, and then I was the only one going in or like encouraging this behavior.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. The trouble is I agree Lav is dishonest in the way she presents stuff, but I'm just like, without knowing what the deleted messages are, I mean, can you characterize in any way or say what the deleted messages were or the kind of things she was saying?
No, no, but that's the problem, right? Is like I deleted the account with the DMs, my DMs still there. But if she can go and do whatever the fuck she wants with her side of things, like I'm not gonna remember that stuff. It's not like I can undelete my account and then be able to like. There's nothing I can do with it. Like I'm just as lost as anybody else is in regards to what is missing.
Okay.
Because it wouldn't be anything other than like general sexual comments. Yes.
Yeah, I mean the deleted messages is there's not much we can really say about that. One thing I kind of do take issue with though, and I think this was obviously in a very hostile call, but this was pointing out to you, is this characterization that you were reaching out and it was with more pure intentions. You know, where to me, even if there were deleted messages, your initial sliding into the DMs, I just think for me I interpret that more as sliding into the DMs to perhaps solicit something of a conversation, flirtatious, sexual, rather than it just being you trying to help as you're characterizing it. So
yeah. Boots kind of asked about this on Queeman stream, and obviously that was a bit of a shit show, and so I dipped. But when I say that when I approached her, it was not sexual, I'm only talking about the very first message I ever sent her. Because immediately when she responds, she opens the door with flirtation. And from there, yes, I make the boundaries message. But obviously, that's a disingenuous message. That's like the boundaries message, I fully concede as a cope.
Okay. I guess that the trouble for me is, is this the first message that was sent? Okay, before we talk about this stuff, I've got to mention. Or was there something before that that's missing? What's the deal with that?
There's I think 2 messages before, one from her and then one from me.
But you reached out to her first, though, I thought.
Yes.
Okay.
What I was trying to make clear to a lot of people is just when I initially messaged her, the only thing my message ever addressed wasn't to invite any sexual conversation between us. It was just to say, hey, you're talking to the wrong people to get this kind of advice regarding the shit she was asking about in general chat about her and Connor.
So when you sent her that message, like, who were you thinking of that might be better at giving advice on that nature?
It was literally just anybody who wasn't the people that were in the Mr. Girl general chat at the time.
So you didn't think about yourself at all in any of that? At all?
Well,
not one little bit?
No, I like doing BDSM and CNC kind of stuff. That is why I was saying, like, do not talk to these people about this shit.
Okay, I guess that I just think, to me, you are doing that because it's softly presenting yourself in the context of someone that can talk about it whilst others can't, surely. Because otherwise, why would you? So what, you're just saying to her, don't talk to them, talk to some other unspecified third party about it instead, essentially.
I mean, I couldn't think back to that time to like even know that. Like, yes, obviously, like that's a possibility. I'm not saying like I would be averse to that, Because when
Right.
she flirts to me in response, which we don't see that message, like, yes, obviously, I openly invite that conversation. I don't recall that being my intention, like, when I sent that first message. That's all I'm saying.
Sure. I guess from my perspective, though, I think the unfortunate reality is you're going to have to accept, like, the perception could easily be the other way. You understand that, right?
Yeah, I don't deny that. I mean, I don't even deny that at the time that couldn't have been. Well, I kind of did actually on Queeman's stream.
I just feel like, okay, your story is a bit all over the place, I feel. And, you know, it's like,
it's all over the place because I have this girl saying she goaded me into a sexual conversation with false pretenses, and then I'm just now learning 2 days ago that she was apparently reading off these messages to people in another VC, while she's also saying the reason I'm replying to myself in some of my messages is because she's actually sexting from a voice chat. Like, I'm really confused about what the truth is of. I'm like trying to understand not just my recollection of the narrative from the incomplete messages she initially provided, but also I'm just, yes, I'm really confused about this entire scenario because
okay.
When she introduced the element of like talking to people in another VC, it was just like I had no animosity about this conversation. I don't see me ever getting rejected. I have messages afterwards where I'm offering her support and sending nice messages. So it's not like I had any animosity at the time. So I'm like I'm trying to I'm really confused about where the narrative of me like making a doc because of the sexual conversation is like even being introduced.
Sure, okay. I feel like we're getting, you know, we can talk about that aspect in a sec. And, you know, I guess, you know, in terms of the initial interaction then, so you're saying up until 2 days ago, you thought that was a genuine sexting interaction. Am I understanding correctly? Okay.
Yes.
And then it was 2 days ago when she leaked it, that's when it became apparent to you that she was mocking you at the time and wasn't genuinely engaging in that as a sexual interaction.
Yes, after the twit longer.
Right, okay. Sure.
Because that's when she's making all of her public tweets about it. That's when she's going on Tom's stream and talking about it. I don't even know that that's an element to consider.
Okay. Sure. I mean, okay. I mean, the thing for me is obviously we're referring to things we can't see and we can't possibly intuit exactly what was and wasn't said. I think when it comes to those initial messages or the deleted messages, people are just going to come to the conclusion that they want to. I just personally am very skeptical about this idea that when you messaged her, it was purely as a warning, do not talk to the incels. I think there was at least some element of you desiring to progress to a sexual conversation. And the fact that it did develop so quickly, to me backs it up. That's my position on it. Anything further on that?
No, yeah. I mean, Lav responded to that message in a flirty way. And yes, I was super open to the idea of just meeting that energy.
I get the issue for me is when you say a flirty way, there's other points in the messages where unless there is something that's been deleted, I'm not seeing the flirtation that you are referring to in the twit longer. It seems a much more one-sided conversation that would need a ream of DMs for me to change my interpretation on.
Yeah, which is, yes, and I understand that, which is what, like, I understand that side, which is why I am so fixated on, to me, obvious spots where, like, there are missing messages, because to me, the way what she's presenting totally makes me just look like super aggressive unreasonably, and also, some of this stuff was not very apparent at the beginning when I wrote the twit longer because she hadn't released those other screenshots, and I don't think she would have unless I wrote the twit longer. So I'm not working off of like the 80% of the messages everybody else has got to work with now. I'm working with like the 40% of our messages that she provided initially that were like the worst parts to characterize me in the worst possible way.
Yeah, this is a thing that I do struggle with because obviously I made my thoughts clear, but I do know that Lav's got a history of releasing things in a certain way, or particularly deleted messages. So I'm willing to grant that there's some messages that could demonstrate a more willing aspect on her part. But I think even if that was true, there's still this kind of excessive escalation of sexualization from your side, which is quite extreme. Like you go within 30 minutes to talking about rape. That's quite extreme. I'm sure you'd agree.
I mean, yes.
So
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, go on.
No, yeah. The only thing I would say is like it's not like these types of topics. It's not like this was the first time something like this had been discussed, especially not with just Lav present. I don't mean between me and her. I mean generally amongst the like VC community Discord group.
Lots of rape discussion in the Discord. Is that what was going on?
No, just sexual kinkery. In general, not saying specifically just.
What the fuck is the deal with all these weird knockoff Mr. Girl? What is that about? I knew some of it, but this is insane. It's insane.
Are you asking about the Splinter stuff?
Yes, just as a side note. Yes, what's that about?
I have no idea. I think I just think it's the Mr. Girl aspect where he breeds or he attracts a lot of people who are fucking freaks. Yes, me included.
Okay. So you're willing to accept the charge that you're a sexually degenerate freak? Is that something you would just accept willingly?
Yes. that just that on its own is like the least damning thing to me. Because I am familiar with that.
Well, I mean that's great and all. I don't want to harp on the response. You've accepted that it's bad. And, I just hate this thing that you've done where you've tried to be Giga Chad at sometimes, memeing on the Ridge Wallet thing. And then others, like I understand that Lav was on Tom's stream. I haven't watched it admittedly, but I heard reference of you being in the cuck chair. What was that about?
I don't know what that means.
I think Lav was on stream talking shit about you and you were sat on your stream watching some other shit and people said you're in the cuck chair.
I don't know what they're talking about unless they're referencing the fact that like Lav went onto Tom's stream and then I joined Tom's stream to address things to him specifically, not to talk to Lav. Lav left, and then while I was explaining stuff to Tom, she joined and like memed, and I don't know what they're referencing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess that it's difficult because I think my issue is that in your behavior, you've kind of acted on the back foot whilst trying to, purport some strength somewhere. And I just think, pick your side. Are you going to be, concession, or are you just going to go full on attack mode? I don't know. This is more personal advice, I guess, but just streaming through it would probably have been a better idea than this kind of being undecided on how to best tackle this.
Yeah, I would say I giga chatted it at first because I felt like I was being shamed for what was like a consensual situation. And then when I learned the whole like hidden VC where she's reading off sex between us to a group of people that I know for the purposes of like making fun of me, it made the entire thing super uncomfortable. Like it just made it super uncomfortable. I don't know how to express it other than that.
Sure. Okay. I think Boots wanted to talk to you if that's okay. I mean, as I said in my coverage, I don't know if I've seen enough evidence to support the scorned lover narrative. If there's anyone from my community that wants to come on and argue that point, they can. But for me, I mean, it just seems like the timelines don't. They could support that, but I've not seen enough hard evidence that that's the case. It seems that there's other stuff that was going on that led you to create the documentary. You tried to get transparency to put it in. That was good. Other than that, I mean, that's my main criticism addressed, I think. Sorry, go on.
No, but you even like laid on a little bit more than that, which is that like even if I didn't have those logs, I could have at least like said something in the video. I mean, because I released that video the next day. I was just like, okay, Harvey Weinstein comments are made by Lav and Mr. Girl, and then I release video. It's not hard to record something for like 10 seconds to say like, by the way, me and Lav have had a past. Some of that includes sexual stuff. And whatever, like a quick disclosure.
Why didn't you disclose it at all?
I literally was just like in schizo, like we're releasing this shit right now. Like I just had my Hitman shades on. So yeah.
Sure. Was there any embarrassment you felt about it in putting it out there?
And putting what out there?
Like, did embarrassment hold you back in any way from putting it into the documentary? Were you embarrassed about the fact you'd had an interaction with someone you were doing a documentary on now?
No, that part I'm not ashamed about. I'm more embarrassed now with the whole her narrative with the VC and friends. I wasn't ashamed of what was in those messages necessarily before. Although, yes, they are freaky.
Okay, I guess the final point I make of DK Boots is here. I'm not sure who, one of the two. Anyway, the final point I just want to make is just that I guess that if anything, the mockery over it would have only bolstered your case. So I don't know why that would impact it in that way.
What do you mean?
Oh, sorry, I think I'm misunderstanding. So you're saying that now you feel more embarrassed because of the fact that she was laughing about it, right? That's what you're saying. Nothing to do with at the time of the documentary.
Yes, she's like, yes, she's goading me to engage in a sexting conversation where the purpose is to actually laugh at me, not disclose that. And even though she's being an active participant in it, I'm the only one who becomes a joke. Yes, I think that's super embarrassing. I think that we can think of many other analogous situations with sexual interactions where like that'd be super inappropriate and we'd have a lot of shit to say about it.
Sure, I think the issue that you're coming up with is that obviously everyone in my community and everyone watching in chat probably thinks Lav bad, Lav bad, Lav bad. So it gets to the point where it's trite, obviously Lav is bad. And I somewhat agree that I think there was a time I was looking at my Discord and people are just like endlessly shitting on you. I'm like, hang on a sec, what about Lav? But it's like, you're kind of up against the losing battle there because everyone always thinks Lav is bad. Sorry, go on.
You say that, but like then you're like, but I don't see very much context that could make this okay. But Lav is like, she is always dishonest. Like, of course, she's gonna leave out shit where like she was talking about rape stuff before, probably in the fucking Discord. She cut out so many messages. Like, she would cut out anything that was like her like responding in an affirmative way. Of course she would. Like, that's just what Lav would do. So like, I don't understand why you wouldn't give Sick the benefit of the doubt, knowing what Lav is like always. And it just seems weird that she's the one that leaked this shit and he's having to defend himself. Like, guys are Coomers. Sick's a Coomer. We fucking know that. He shouldn't have denied at the beginning that like he was trying to message her in a Coomery way. Like, obviously we know that's true, but it's like, what is the fucking big deal here? Why does it matter?
I guess the big deal is the fact that Sick, hasn't been, in my opinion, like fully transparent in the way he's dealt with it at first. And like if he had just owned it from the early situation, it probably would have been smoother, I would guess. I mean, I can't say for sure. Somebody would just fucking hate Sick.
Do you think that like the way that I wrote the twit longer doesn't make it seem like I'm admitting to being a Coomer?
But even that, I mean, being a
kind
Coomer
of
is kind of downplaying it.
I'm just asking because I felt like that I had communicated that, and it seems like to almost everybody that I didn't communicate it well enough. So it's like, almost like I should have just put it in the headlines. Yes,
I understand being a Coomer, but like I just feel sometimes we use that word as a downplaying because it's like, you're coming up with these elaborate cuckoldry sex fantasies involving consent, non-consent, and rape. And yeah, sure.
But you don't know what she was talking about?
Yeah, but but the thing is whilst I agree that she there's more messages where she was goading him on even more so, Sick is still 50% of that equation in going into it as well, right? And putting it out there to that level.
Okay, but he didn't put it out there. Like they were having a private conversation in which she never told him to like not to stop or anything. So like judging people for their like private kinks that they never intended to get out there just feels like so wrong. And of course, like he's gonna act poorly when it first comes out, because like nobody wants to fucking talk about that shit publicly. It's embarrassing. Of course, it's embarrassing.
She's also not presenting it like it's 50-50. She's presenting it like it's 90-10. Which I think gives a completely different vibe to the situation.
Sure, and I am perfectly willing to admit that there's messages that exist that would shift my perception of the conversation, and I'm willing to grant some benefit of the doubt that they exist. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously there's an extremity of a response, and I think some people have just don't like you and want to shit on you regardless. And if you're going to say, yeah, I'm a degenerate sex guy or whatever, then, I don't really know what else to say to that point, DK, have you got anything?
What's up? Where are we at? What are we talking about?
Well,
I heard it was being presented as 90-10. I'm just wondering why Sick didn't present it any differently in his Twitlonger.
I mean, I felt like I communicated when I wrote the Twitlonger. I felt like I communicated it that way, and then like in retrospect, there's a lot of things like
fans always talking about your feelings. How about you just do the thing?
Yeah, I agree with that too. I should have just gotten to the point a lot more often. But yeah. So in a non-sexting related way, one of the things where I like didn't communicate something properly is that I talked about Bellini putting in a chat a cropped version of a nude of mine, and everybody was like, "Oh, she had a really zoomed in picture of his dick." No, that's not how it started. It was actually her having a shirtless picture of me, and then she was zooming out because the threat was to leak my nude. Which is why I deleted it. It doesn't. I'm just saying there's a lot of places inside of that Twitlonger where I was trying to communicate something, and I just completely fucked up.
Okay.
Well, like some people are saying that it has to do with love, like that whole situation, because like her refusing to ban Chick from her server was like the catalyst for some people. Sorry, for like the dog. Oh, that's what I want to ask about. I wanted to know like when did you actually start doing the dog? And like was it kind of in the works? Because I know that like Mr. Girl was kind of on board for part of it. But I don't know when it was like actually started and when you started like really making it.
I never gathered any intel on Lav or knew anything about her past or anything until the day I confronted Mr. Girl about him, that he should platform people in the community who've had experiences with Lav. And then when he said, okay, we should make a little doc about it, that night I think I spent like 10 hours doing research, and like it took 10 hours because I was like uncovering all of these threads I have never seen before. So that would be like the Gabriel Gundacker shit and whatnot.
When was that like in the timeline?
I think it was August 25th. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I don't know when that is in the timeline. So was that like before she kicked or you left the server and left Discord stuff?
It's when I deleted my account, that's like 2.5 months afterwards.
Okay. So, but were you like sexting and stuff while you were looking up info on her?
No.
Okay. So it was like
that whole sexting situation happens 10 days after she has joined the Mr. Girl community.
Okay. And you never did it again. It was just like
it was that one conversation, yes. Also, this is another thing people don't understand. I've got no indication after that conversation that she's uncomfortable, because she's also making jokes in allusion to the CNC BDSM stuff where she's saying he punish me and shit like that. It's like it doesn't seem like she's averse to that kind of element.
Yeah, I mean, like even if she were like if she weren't actually into it, which I don't know if she has like any sexual drive behind her. It's just like attention based, but like she was trying to get you to say that shit. Like she admitted as much. So it's not like even if she wasn't receptive to it, she was trying to make it happen. So it's yeah.
I guess Six's point is that apropos of nothing later, she made the meme about punish me because she was mentioning a sexual conversation they'd had in another call, and then Sick got wind of it and said, "Hey, what's that about?" Right? Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, listen, this is becoming too much of a circle jerk.
What the? Who is that?
Oh, the anti-joker is here.
So
well, DK is not really. I was
we need to bring
expecting DK to
balance.
say a little bit more.
Well, I'll get into my
lagging?
issues. I think.
Hello? Okay.
Oh my fucking god!
Yo,
Bro, this looks like a slideshow.
I think that Sick was very dishonest in his Twitter.
Why are you sideways?
You're sideways. You're sideways. You need to change that around. Just fix that. DK, go on, please.
No, I think that Sick was very dishonest in his Twitlonger. I think that the end part about Destiny, I don't think it was relevant. I don't think any of the Bellini shit was relevant. I think that especially so once you join the Spicy Chat conversation, the talk about you not entering in sexually, that was cope, total cope. We all know that if you're messaging a girl privately about sex, even if it's to say that, oh, you shouldn't get advice from these guys. They don't know about sex. I mean, we all know what you're trying to do, but you try to paint it in your doc and in the conversation like that was just like a normal thing that you would do, is like you're just like that virtuous that you have to make sure that no woman is getting false sexual information.
Yeah,
ahead,
I don't like that. I don't like the writing. Is that like for me to tell somebody to not engage with the community that, mind you, she is still pretty new in, like to ward her off. It's not me saying like I'm some god king emperor
if I were
or
to
like
do that,
I'm also offering myself as this like alternative. I'm not offering myself as an alternative in the message where I propose to her like that she get advice elsewhere. That's one of my big issues with
here's what I would do. So let's say a woman came into Spicy Chat and she was talking about sex with whatever degenerates we have in there. I would not DM her privately about it. I would in the chat say, you probably don't want to get any sex advice from these freaks in here. I mean, I wouldn't say that, but if I were you, I would have done it in the public chat, especially if I have a partner already. Just because, A, you get to say what you want to say to her. You get to say that she shouldn't talk about sex with these people, give her that advice. And then B, you get to shit on all these people that have been shitting on you.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to shit on them. He was talking about that. Like,
why
all
not?
the mods fucking hated him at that point. Or like, they were judging you
Even
for being
more
a bad
reason
mod or something?
No, the mods were actually fine. The mods just never they never action shit. So like you could be as like you could harass somebody almost as much as you wanted to, and I just didn't want to deal with that because I dealt with it on a daily basis. It made the community unbearable, which is why I took a break in the first place.
That's why you left and decided that your new community was as DMs.
No.
Okay, I want to throw it over to Creeman because I'm sure he's got some takes.
So he's like spurting out already.
Jesus.
He's stimming, okay? Give him a break. He's stimming.
I don't know where we at. What was Sick still denying? I feel like this. I agree with Chud about the trying to play the victim on one hand and also being like on the other hand, like, yeah, I know I'm a sex freak. Yeah, that is what I am. It is super lame. There's not really any big moral criticisms here. You just come off like a big freak, and it makes me look at you differently, knowing that you had this sexual relationship with someone before you went and made the 2-hour documentary on them. It's not like, you know, that documentary's wrong or you've committed some heinous moral act. It's just like, it's a bit fucking weird, isn't it? It's a bit fucking weird.
Let me build on this a little bit. I usually don't agree with Koi, but I agree with him here on this point. Do you think you would have been as compelled to make the doc had this kind of negative interaction between you and Lav? What happened?
What negative interaction?
Well, okay. let me paint it like this. So you guys had this sexual thing, right? And then she kind of, I don't want to say, okay, I'm going to say scorned, but let me make it clear that I'm not saying that she like rejected you. But to me, if I had a sexual relationship with someone privately, I think my phone died, sorry. If I had a sexual relationship with someone privately, I would expect that they kind of would have my back in like at least extreme cases. So if someone posted revenge porn of me, they probably would have my back if we had like an intimate private relationship. I would feel scorned if they kind of just brushed me off after we had that kind of relationship. Did you feel that way?
Sorry. Okay. When you're talking about the whole like revenge porn situation, that actually, yes, that was like a negative interaction that I internalized for sure. The reason I wanted the logs though is because Lav was trying to make it out on other people's streams that what was in our DMs.
Was I coming in clearly? You guys heard me, right? Because
we heard you, but your
the
cam
logs
froze.
or anything.
Yeah, we heard you. Your cam froze though.
Okay, you're not answering my question.
Oh, you're okay. You're memeing on me.
I'm not memeing on you. Did you feel scorned?
Okay. I need yours.
Over the sexting conversation? No.
No. By the fact that you had that relationship and then she screwed you afterwards.
No, because to me, the sexting conversation, I never internalized that in a way that like added major weight to it.
Well, okay. I think I'm understanding what you're saying. So you're saying that at the time you made the documentary, you were still of the belief that you'd engaged in a consensual sexting conversation, and it's only 2 days ago that you realised that she'd done something bad for you to feel scorned by. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, well, even more to DK's point, at the time that the revenge porn situation happened, the sexting never played into how I felt towards Lav specifically. Right. Because my vitriol was towards the entire community because everybody was excusing it. Nobody was shitting on Bellini for doing this. So it wasn't even, I didn't have animosity specifically towards Lav.
But Lav is the person that wasn't doing anything about it primarily, right? Like she owned the server or something, is that correct?
Yeah, it was within the confines of her server, yes.
Okay. So she had the power.
I don't know why you don't just say, like, yes, I did have animosity towards Lav, and this is what, like, led to me looking into this shit. Like, that's fine to admit.
Yes, but I think DK is trying to make the point, though, that it had more weight for me because we had a previous sexting conversation from my perspective, not Lav's, obviously.
Well, it could, because that would make you feel closer, but that's not really relevant in any other. Like, it could have been any sort of conversation where you got closer.
No, yeah, I didn't feel intimately close to Lav though.
Yeah, but it's shown that you've like shown a sexual interest in her, and she's validated that interest. So we know that there's like a level of sort of enhanced relationship that's going on between you two, more than just two random Discord users that are in sort of like the same communities. It's like, you know, you're sitting there, and we can probably reasonably interpret that you're hoping that maybe, you know, if things pan out right, maybe you'll get a shot at Lav. You know, maybe you'll be the Discord mod she's flying out to fuck. You know, maybe it'll be you this time.
But is there any? Listen, Crewman, this is where your narrative spinning gets a bit annoying because I'm like, where's your evidence to back this up? You're just narrative spinning.
So no, this is just a fact that if a girl is validating your sexual advances on her, you might be like, okay, well, this could happen again. You know,
great, might be. Where's your evidence to back that up? Go.
My evidence is that she validated his sexual advances, and I know how fucking sexual relationships fucking work, bro. What?
Are you sure you know how sexual relationships work?
Yeah, if you fucking validate someone's interest, they're gonna hang around and hope it fucking happens again. That is the way it operates. Are you saying you don't think Sick had any sexual interest in her after this conversation? You think it ended?
Yeah, maybe, but like, there's no indication that he acted upon that.
Yeah, like there doesn't seem to be reams of DMs. Sorry, go on.
I was trying to make this. It's coloring his interactions with her from this point that he has this sexual possibility in his mind. So if he's going forward with that in his head, then that's going to affect decision making, especially if he's doing something like going, "Oh, I'm going to spend 3 months making a massive documentary on her."
But a lot of people were horny for Lav when she first joined the space until they got to know her. Like,
yeah, that's
normal.
I was gonna say the reason why, like, to me, it doesn't factor in is because that whole breaking off point where I delete my account, that's a whole 2 weeks later, and we're in VCs all the time. Like that, by that point, we've had enough conversations, like outside of DMs, me and Lav, that it's like pretty apparent that if she did have an interest, she no longer has it, and I don't have that towards her. That is not our relationship. It is not in any way intimate, but it's also not with animus either.
Yeah, I mean, for me, you know, I get the frustration, and I get, you know, I'm obviously very disappointed, Sick, of course. I just think that when you actually look at like
I've famously never been a Coomer online.
Listen, this isn't my trial, okay? I've already been through my ramifications. But well, all I was going to say is I just feel like there is a lot of hate coming your way, and obviously there's other things which people have pointed out, which I think, you know, are kind of embarrassing for you. But to me, it's like you could have solved this by just putting in the documentary, as you said earlier, hey, just to let you know a bit of, you know, bias clarity or whatever. We did have a sort of sexual interaction when we first started speaking, just for the sake of completion. And I'm sure Queeman would have been happy to see that in there, right? Am I right on that?
I would love to have seen that in there.
Yeah,
I fucked Lavlune in big letters at the start of the documentary.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, like, that would have solved a lot of the problems that people, I think, have now. So if that's the only solution that's required to deal with this, I mean, Queeman, like, I guess for you, like, you're obviously the most critical. You know, what else is there to say? You can't cry over spilt milk.
Betrayed. I feel betrayed. That's the reality. Sure. Okay, you think someone like actually hates women, and then it turns out they're just like, upset about the rejection.
As do I. As do I.
I'm hoping. I thought he actually hated her. I thought he really hated her, but no, he fell for it at first. I feel betrayed.
I mean, it makes sense that you would hate somebody even fucking more after, like, you like have an interaction with them that you think is positive, and they fuck you over.
It's different, but it changes. It's a different.
Oh, you think that he just had this like innate hate for her because woman?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Exactly.
Gotcha. I think it would have been stupid to put that in the documentary, by the way. Like, if you would have to tell this whole fucking story for which he doesn't have sources for, and if you just say, like, we had a sexual interaction, then, yeah.
What?
And then, if you
all
just say we
had
a sexual interaction, hold the fuck up. If you just say that we had a sexual interaction, then it's going to lead people to think that you are extra biased because of that when you're telling the story, when really that happened way before any of the other shit with Lav. And that, like, so it doesn't mean that he's biased from that.
So
it would just
more honest to leave. It's more honest to not mention it. I see. That's what you're saying.
It's not like more honest to not mention it. It would just color the documentary in a way in which I don't think that he meant it to be. Like, he wasn't really featured in it. Their relationship is not a part of it. It's just about Lav. So I don't. It's
he wasn't.
Why would he put it in?
But I mean,
in a minor way.
He's making a documentary. If you're making a documentary exposing the wrongs of someone, I feel like it's important to put in whether you've had an interaction with them. You've had
I mean, this is just fundamental that you can make art that, yes, is made by the artist, but doesn't have it might have the artist's flavor, but it's not like the artist is not like a subject piece inside of it. I mean, I would assume most documentaries. I'm just saying most documentaries are like that in the first place.
Sure. I mean, but the thing is like, when you put aside like Queeman's personal feelings about it, which I do understand, it is, you know, a disappointment, I guess you might say. What else is there to say? Like, you know, there's maybe some disagreement with it, but, you know, you should have maybe put it in a documentary. You can't turn back time and change things. Like, what else is there to say for Sick to do? Right? Like, what is there? Can anyone think of anything else? Like, I don't think there is anything else, is there? And I think people just
your e-women more, I would say.
But that's just crying. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's crying over spilt milk. You can't change that now. Like, yeah, like we could sit here and go, well, Sick, what lessons have you learned from this? And like, what, I don't know. Do we need to do that? That seems a bit cringe. I don't know. I'm listening. You know, has anyone got anything else? Otherwise, I can wrap this up. I mean, I think we've kind of.
I mean, I do want to address something about like you and DK and everybody else is like, I don't know why he's bringing up the Bellini shit. Like I didn't know that everybody was going to fixate just on the sexting, and that she was also Lav was also going to say that one, she wasn't a participant at the same time, but also she was goading on the situation. I thought that was a totally consensual situation. I thought I knew what I was getting into with that conversation. I didn't know that there was going to be these additional elements. To me, I wanted to address the entirety of our DMs because Lav had characterized them before to people within our just little splinter community, within Mr. Girl, within multiple different discords relevant to streamers and shit. So I wanted to address everything. So while everybody else is only fixated on the sexting part, all of it's super relevant because Lav was also trying to like downplay the severity of the revenge porn situation as well in the past.
Okay, I'm finally back inside. I just want to say I missed a little bit of it, but my main problem has been the dishonesty part of it. Because it feels like the Twitlonger was like almost entirely dishonest just to try and like get out of this embarrassing situation. If you had just said like, yeah, I did this.
Specifically in the Twitlonger was dishonest.
Yeah, that's.
I think most, like, including most of it is dishonest. I think the end part where he was talking about the fact that he released it to like save Destiny or whatever. I don't think Destiny was relevant at all.
I don't think that. That's my favorite.
No, well, the only reason Destiny is relevant is because he is the centerpiece of Lav's like deception at the point in time, and the whole reason I'm making the doc, the whole reason I spent 2 months of research into putting this all together is to expose her. And yes, like messaging Chud about the doc is pouring gasoline on the type of momentum that like can get. Yes, doing it at the same night or the night after Destiny gets accused of being Harvey Weinstein, and I've got false allegations inside the doc. Yes,
okay,
that is
sick. Wait, because that's different. What you just said there is different to what you said in the Twitlonger, though, isn't it? Because in the Twitlonger, the phrasing you used was, "I wasn't going to wait for Lavlune to make any more false accusations against."
Yes.
Yes, because that does not imply. That does not imply wanting momentum and viewership on your documentary.
How do you get more people to see the Lav shit? Is you release it when this is happening?
Well, calm down. You need to understand the reason I'm bringing that up is because, yes, I am predicting already that she's going to make more allegations after this. And so I want to make sure that my doc is seen, because when she makes those additional allegations, I want to make sure people take her word as not seriously as possible. Like I want her to look like
I think it's pretty clear to anyone who read that Twitlonger, anyone who listened to it earlier, there were a few little games being played where you were trying to control perception of your actions a little bit. And one of those little games was being like, oh, Connor, CEO of Ridgewallet, CEO of Ridgewallet, Connor, ha ha ha, look, I'm doing the meme, guys, I'm doing the meme. And the other one was being like, oh, see, guys, I had to save Destiny. I had to do it. I had to do it then to save Destiny, guys.
Say it was to save Destiny.
Okay, again, I agree with the first point. The second point, I half agree with. Like, there was absolutely this indication that it was to do with helping Destiny out in some way, which is going to give you an affinity with Destiny's audience. There was also, intended to anyway, I think. And also these memes and jokes, I think, are playing into the anti-Lav sentiment as well. I guess from my perspective, I would have just liked to have seen it stated a bit more plainly, without some of these elements in there.
I wouldn't have been on the back foot so much, though, if this whole like Discord VC friend shit element wasn't even included. As soon as I learned about that, or because I believe that actually is true, I think Lav is being honest. I think there were a lot of people who hated me in our little splinter community that could have been a thing. Yes, I was on the back foot from there because it completely changed the element of like what these DMs meant to me.
I wonder why. Okay, so what happens? So Lav just kind of releases these because she said because she found them just now, right? So yes. She releases them, and then you start working on this Twitlonger right away. what did you want to say with the twitlonger? Because you barely even talked about the actual DMs or the implication of the DM.
Yeah, I didn't understand it. I didn't
He was
understand.
talking about this when you were gone, so.
Yeah, you're the one who made me walk
just
around.
Fucking repeat it. Sick. I know that you love to take 10 minutes to say something that takes 1 minute, so go ahead, go. Tell him again.
I didn't know what her exact allegations were. She was just using it as a way to meme on me and like talk about the DMs as if she wasn't an active participant. So the only purpose of my twitlonger was to expand on everything that had happened in our DMs to like basically make people understand that she was a participant as well.
Okay. I mean, I don't.
That's only referring to this.
Like 90%
I'm just saying that's only
is relevant to that though.
Yeah, so he said that he didn't know that people were going to focus so heavily on the DMs, and she might come out with other shit later. So he wanted to explain the entirety of the Lav DMs.
Yeah, well, I'm only addressing the sexting part because that's the only part that DK cares about.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, but he's saying like you barely talked about the sexting stuff in the twitlonger. So I'm telling DK that he wanted to talk about the entirety, not of the DM she released, but of their DM situation. That's why he wanted to talk about all of it, because she has more than that, and she's going to be like, well, you did this later, or something like that, you know? So he tried to talk about all of it.
You were saying before also that he barely remembers this situation, right?
Right.
How would he know what other DMs she has?
I don't agree with that statement, though.
What, that you don't remember it, really?
I don't know. I remember a lot of the contents, maybe not the exact verbiage, but I remember the interactions we had generally, yes.
Okay.
When I said that he probably doesn't remember, that I'm referring to like him not remembering that she had said this specific thing in between these two messages that make him look like a creep or something like that. Like he won't remember her exact words.
Hello, everybody.
Bro,
Dingo, what do you want?
To this conversation.
Came in here. Number one, DK, you're looking quite sickly and thin today. But I was wondering if I could borrow your jawline sometime. Got a date coming up.
My chin, you can have the chin.
But sick. Let's be real, man. You wanted some sexy time with the little lady. Let's be real, man. You wanted some sexy time. Yes. You wanted to get your grubby
Dingo. Oh, whoa! Are you old enough to have this conversation, mate? Honestly, I'm regretting bringing you in.
16 is legal here. 16 is legal.
Listen.
Try again, loser.
No, listen, guys. Listen, guys. Sick. I came here to give you some advice. So what we did is we looked at the numbers. We looked at the data.
This is what you were trying to do with Lav here, by the way. Take notes.
Yeah, we looked at the data. We looked at the numbers, and people your age struggle the most with sexual compatibility.
Where's this study? No. Wait, Dingo, can you link this study in the side chat, please, when you get finished?
Dingo, sure, listen, mate. I really honestly.
I want to go over the methodology.
No, let me finish my rant. Let me finish my rant. So, Sec, what I give you some lessons on here is how to charm women. So, so when you're looking for the ideal partner, it may be optimal to figure out if they have any, glaring.
You might want to write this down.
Yeah,
you're not really focusing.
Actually, if you could pull up a notepad tab on your desktop,
I've got Obsidian.
Listen,
okay,
listen. This is stupid. I don't listen. I don't want to fucking get sidetracked into some bullshit meme. Okay, I want to wrap this up now. Finish the fucking grilling and move on because I'm covering this for fucking hours. Please, right? What else have we got for sick?
Boots, go ahead.
I mean, I don't really have anything. I don't think that he has anything to explain. I think it's really stupid that we're even talking about it in the first place.
Honestly,
I understand that he has to because it's Lav, and of course,
he's going to come out with more shit. I would still shit on him for it, but the fact that he was so dishonest in his framing in the thing,
you don't know that he's dishonest in anything.
Okay,
you are reading it and picking out exactly how you want to see it in the worst way possible.
100% that he is dishonest about saying that his initial messaging of Lav was non-sexual.
I mean, in content, it was sexual. Like, it was literally something sexual.
In intent, it was sexual.
You can't know that. And,
I know. I'm the cuck whisperer. I know Go ahead, Chud.
I was gonna say is I'm up for Sick getting a bit of a grill, and I get it, you know, and I've seen some of the commentary about him. I totally get it, right? But I feel like, first of all, like the Twitlonger thing, I don't know if there's like a malicious dishonesty happening there. I would probably attribute it more to him trying to hack fucking hammer out Twitlonger under pressure.
I think there is. Because he's embarrassed and he wants to spin the narrative in his favor.
Okay. Sick, what's your response to that?
I don't think I was being dishonest. I think some things can come out inconsistent or wrong later on. I was working with a fraction of the DMs that we have now.
It's not about the DMs.
It's entirely about the DMs, because the only way that you can judge whether or not I'm being dishonest is by weighing my words against the DMs.
I'm weighing your words in the DMs against what you said in the discussion that we had the other night.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a disagreement. I did realize, though, that I think you guys are trying to argue about the contents of the DMs that you guys see, and I was trying to explain that there were things before, even the earliest DM that you guys see, that, like, explains a lot of the narrative that I'm trying to, like, give people, but Lav is not showing.
Wait, like, outside of DMs context?
No. I'm saying there's more DMs before me laying out boundaries. That is not the first DM we
exchanged. The first DM was you saying, these guys don't know how to talk about sex. I do. You should talk to me about it. Essentially was the...
Yeah, okay, Queeman.
Those messages.
Okay, Queeman.
What?
Wait, what does that mean?
Oh, yeah, because that's what I was saying.
It's what Queeman said, and that's not what I said. I never offered myself as an alternative for her to talk to.
The reason you went into the DMs was to be an alternative.
It doesn't matter about my intent, because you're adding, like, you're saying I'm explicitly saying and offering myself, and that's not what I did. That's not what I said.
This is the plausible deniability I was
Everyone
talking
knows.
about,
It's implicit. It was an implicit agreement. It was an implicit agreement. Go ahead, Sick.
I just disagree with you.
I just, you know, I get the grilling. It feels like we're drilling down into this insane detail, you know.
It's not insane detail. I just want him
I mean,
to be...
he's not gonna know the fucking...
When he messaged, he was intending to get sexual reciprocation when he was saying, hey, these guys don't know how to talk about sex. I don't think you would go and do that in a woman's DMs unless you were offering yourself.
You don't think so, because you wouldn't do it in that way.
Yeah.
But Sick might have.
This is 99% of people would see it that way.
Okay, 99% of people. But, like, we already know Sick is a fucking freak. So maybe he's the 1%.
Yeah, he's a freak in that he is at the top of the 99%.
But you don't know that. Like, you're just putting this on him. And also,
I'm the cuck
it's
whisperer.
so hard to remember, like, your exact state, your emotional state, like, when you sent a message a fucking year ago. Like, he might have been thinking, like, in the back of his...
well.
Okay, he remembers the situation, and he remembers, like, the context. But what I'm saying is, he might have gone into it and said that because she was saying this, like, shit in the chat and getting bad advice and stuff. But in the back of his head, he might have had, like, maybe, you know, she's really sexy and maybe she'll want to talk to me about it and I'll like that, but, like, not even have that consciously or, like, have that be the main thing that motivated him to say something. You just don't know that. So it's, like, so silly to just say you definitely did.
Can I appeal to the moderator, please? Can I appeal to the moderator?
For what reason?
Kui, if you saw a woman getting bad sexual advice.
Ask the biggest fucking freak in here, sure.
No. He's moderating. He's clearly going to be unbiased in this judgment.
Freak allegations against Queeman. Okay, Chud, if you saw a woman getting bad sex advice.
About sex.
I mean, yeah, to be honest with you, I think, yeah. I mean, well,
and if you did,
no, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. But if I was to, yeah, the intent would be, you know, oh yeah, maybe I can get something going here. Certainly, not that I do that, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty reasonable interpretation. Sick can deny it, sure, but then obviously stop fucking doing the clapping. But then people are obviously gonna see it differently, and that's fair enough. Okay, I've got a question here from Doobie. Can you ask Sick which part of describing the way Lav's fiance could fuck her made his pee-pee hard? I mean, that's just a troll question. Come on, that's ridiculous.
Answer the question,
I
Sick.
hate you people. I'm not answering that question.
That is a troll question. I can't believe he said that. Look, okay, listen. Okay, I don't want anyone to be like, oh no, have we had enough of grilling Sick? Does anyone else want to come in and give Sick some shit? Like, I don't know, I feel like we've done enough grilling, haven't we?
I was gonna say, everybody. Okay, Queeman, make a point, make a good one, because you guys focusing so much on this first message is like slim.
This is what you do, though.
It's not close.
Make a good point.
Okay, this
That's
is
what you
a
did your whole
point. This is a
Twitlonger.
broader point. I'm making
I've conceded.
This is commentary that I'm about to bring you, Sick. Okay.
Okay.
Imagine you go down the pub and you show someone down the pub. You're like, "This is the messages that bloke's been sending on Discord." Are they gonna be like, "Oh, that's normal. I've got messages like that on my Discord account"? No, they're gonna be like, "He's a fucking weirdo. He's weird. He's a strange fucking guy." And then if you go, "This guy made a 2-hour documentary about her after having these sex with her," they're gonna go, "Oh wow, that's proper fucking weird. That guy's a real fucking freak." And not
should we have a look at your YouTube channel, Queeman, and see what kind of stuff you're covering, and see what people think about that? Like, I don't know. This is like pot calling the kettle black. Surely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not fucking out there sexting Lisa, am I, Chud? I'm not sexting fucking Lisa.
Okay, that's true. Well, hang on. Whoa. There's no evidence. There's no evidence that you are. Okay, there's no evidence that you are. Let's put it that way. Okay.
Yeah. I will say, if they've got similar sexual interests, yeah, their DMs might look very similar. I mean, just because I'm like, I don't know. Yes, I might think somebody who's into diaper porn, yes, they probably have weird DMs that I would consider freaky. But that doesn't mean they're necessarily doing anything wrong just because I think they're fucking freaky.
Oh, well, I would say cucking is.
I mean, most of what I consider wrong or inappropriate with Lav is because of the context of having a relationship. Like a relationship with another person. Not because of any of my actual conduct within the conversation.
No, it's just fucking weird to go prowl around Discord servers for streamers looking for women that you can approach for a conversation.
Prowling around is another characterization.
Well, hold on.
I mean, if you see it that way, then you're seeing it exactly how Lav wants you to see it. You realize that, right? Like, she is stripped in all context. It's just posting weird messages.
Every woman we've heard of from that server, it seems like Sick was intending to have a sexual relationship with.
Well, hang on. It's Lav, and then the other one that did the weird, like, quasi revenge porn.
By the way.
Yes,
right?
He's saying that's every woman that we've heard of from that server.
But there were more women than that, right?
Were there? Sick?
Well, let's ask Sick now. Sick, did you have sexual relations with anyone else from that server?
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Which is fine, because they're all fucking freaks.
I mean,
like,
if it's all above board and consensual,
and should not be allowed
they're
outside.
not freaks. That's why half of them are incels. That's why Sick was saying that she shouldn't get sexual advice from them.
The guys were incels sniffing for pussy.
But not Sick. Sick's not like that. Sick's the good one, who you should talk to.
He didn't say that.
Ladies in the chat, if you're looking for good, healthy sexual advice, have I got the guy for you?
Okay.
40-year-old father. SICUnchained.
Wait. Okay. What are you talking about me? Anyway, listen. Don't. Okay. I think we've. Look. I just think, as much as I've had my criticisms or whatever thing, is that it? Like, what does this come down to? You feel that there was lies in his Twitlonger or like misrepresentations to back him up?
I feel like we have a situation on our hands, an epidemic. I feel like we've got to protect the women in our servers from this predator, SICUnchained.
Okay,
how do you plead?
So fucked up to even joke about that, because like this is serious for him, obviously. Like, I know it's a joke for you, but
it's not that. Come on, it's not that serious.
I mean,
no one really cares about this.
I was tricked into having a sexting conversation where it was used as ammo to humiliate me online.
Yeah, but no one sympathizes with you. One, because it's Lav, and two, because you're doing it with every woman you can get your hands on.
It's Lav. Wait, DK, it's Lav who nobody knew who the fuck she was or what she was because she had only been in the community for 10 days. Destiny didn't know about, well, Destiny knew the private her. Mr. Girl didn't know about her. Chud didn't know about her. Queeman, you, Boots, nobody knew about her. Nobody.
And?
I mean, to be...
I'm just saying, she's just another woman at that point.
Yeah, DK, it's only Lav and Bellini and probably Layla and Toko and...
Yeah, you're talking to
It's like
DK,
a
who has
laundry
had
list of
so
women.
many relationships with women online that you're like literally talking to the worst. You maybe only yourself. You're the only person
Yeah, I
who's
haven't
not
seen.
done it.
Yeah, I haven't seen him talking about rubbing another man's cock all over a belly or something. Whatever that the fucking
Well,
message was.
If
I'm
his
not a
messages
Please do a better
leak, then
job
you
of it
can
than
fucking
Sick.
laugh at him and call him a predator then.
Oh.
But they're not out. I remember like when Chud's messages leaked, it was fucking embarrassing to have to go through all of that shit and talk about it all. Like
Yeah,
it
we still
sucks
call
to
him
do
on
that.
now.
I mean,
But
yeah,
it's just-
sure. I mean,
that's
Bruce is right. You little freaks sit in that little Discord and laugh at everything without having anything on the line. Especially you, Quinn, when you're a fake content creator who never fucking streams.
Hello? Are you kidding me? You're saying that to me, Chud? Are you serious?
Not you, DK. Listen, I obviously don't include you in that. You know, I'm talking about everyone fucking...
I've got a quick one because I
The
kind
kids
of
are safe
I
now,
do actually
buddy.
agree
Watch
with
it.
Chud that I think that it's probably like it's funny and it's a content drought. But I do have a question. Like when you did all this, you weren't a content creator. You had no intention of being a content creator. Like you were just somebody in Discord servers, but you did message a lot of people, and this kind of shit blows up, especially now you're a content creator. So is there more stuff that's going to come out? And are you doing anything like this now? And like, are you going to never do this again? Because I think that's like the question of what can Sick do? I'm going to just give the answer of not this.
The last two questions is basically, are you going to be celibate from now on? The answer is no.
Are you going to be
I'm not
like
going to act like a dirty cumin?
Another dishonest framing.
Okay, but I'm not asking.
No. Hold on.
He's
He's asking, is this ever going to happen again? I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, are you saying like
sexting e-whores? Are you going to keep sexting e-whores? Not are you going to be celibate? You can have sex
Yeah.
in real life, Sick. It's a total reframing.
Like,
He's saying, are you going to fuck up like this again? Not are you going to have sex again?
Your private life, when it's in Discord communities that you are interacting with, is no longer your fucking private life. Sorry, like
yeah. No.
If any of us say anything and somebody wants to go for us, they will go through us through their DMs. And if you want like any advice, like, and again, like who the fuck am I? But anything you say privately should be something that you can either defend or are prepared to see said publicly. And if you follow that rule, you will be fine. But if there's more DMs like this, of course people are going to go for you, mate, because you make and you do commentary and you're considered fair game.
That's the game.
I mean, I'm 30 years old. I've at least had 12 years of adulthood that were on the internet, but not as a creator. I'm just saying, like, as a content creator, like, no, I don't think I have to worry about this.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. That was my only comment. Cool, right? Les.
Thanks.
He's gone, just like that.
Okay.
What else I just want to say really quick.
Sure.
If I'm getting relationship advice from Beckett, I've truly hit rock bottom. But
oh, okay. Listen, I've been talking about this for like nearly 4 hours now, including my little issue. Is there anything else? We've got anything else for Sick?
What's your wrap up, Chud? What's your diagnosis?
My diagnosis is, I think what you frame as dishonesty, I just frame as a kind of inconsistent attempt to, simultaneously be a giga chad about it and also be on the back foot. I think put everything out too quickly.
The will maneuver, you could say.
Yeah, the will maneuver. And he dealt with it badly. Like, he dealt with it badly, in my opinion, should have put something in the documentary. That's it. I don't really know what other take there is. Beyond being personally disappointed, which is a personal thing that kind of, obviously doesn't really come into it.
I'm personally disappointed on the behalf of everyone.
But like, what else is there to say? Like, yeah, he sexted with Lav last year. Didn't make it clear for the documentary. Didn't realize he was being fucking tagged along a bit. I don't know. Like, to me, it's like there isn't a broad moral message here or something like this because Sick hasn't really done anything substantively wrong.
Yeah, no, I don't think Sick is like. I don't think he's done anything.
He's not raped.
Wrong in the sense that Sick is not raped. That's correct. I think he's done something wrong, and that would be being a cuck. But there's something I want to ask you while I have you here, Chud, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
It's semi-related to this situation.
Yeah.
We were discussing this in Spicy Chat earlier. What do you think about this word "coomer" that's been floating around, used to downplay the actions of these sex freaks online? What do you think about that? Destiny would be an example of that as well. Everyone goes, "Oh, Destiny's just a coomer, you know, he's just a weird coomer," but in reality, he is kind of like a sex addicted freak, perhaps you could say.
Sure, I think the word coomer is often used to downplay, you know, certain actions. But then I spoke to Sick earlier and said, "Are you a sex addicted freak or whatever it was I said?" And he was like, "Yeah." So it was like, well, what more can you say?
Okay. I mean, just in general, you think? We're
Yeah,
thinking about banning the word coomer going forward.
I think it's often used to downplay stuff which is more worthy of criticism. But then, you know, even that is going to be down to your perspective on sex and stuff, right? Like some people are more open about sex. I'm a bit more prudish about it, generally speaking. So I'd probably side more on the banning of the term if used in that way. But then also, I don't want to impact free speech. So, you know,
I think this this communal shaming of these sex freaks is it's a good thing. It's a moral good.
Okay. I mean, if you want to shame people,
you can't make people think it's okay. This coomer thing has made people think that it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, DK, if you want to shame people like that, I think that's totally fine. My only problem with words like coomer is it's like a way to criticize somebody while also just keeping your brain turned off. They're not actually like speaking criticisms.
I don't really think it's a
not a criticism though. It's like it's like they're a coomer. It's like a little quirky feature, you know. But it's like no, it's not. You're a fucking weird sex freak, and you should stop being a fucking weird sex freak because it's gross.
Yeah, but then okay, like, but then you're doing the retarded.
Make this public though. He's not doing this publicly. Like this was private shit that she made.
And all of Destiny's was private initially. Also, all the Anna shit was private at first. All the Lauren Southern shit was private.
If you're going around doing this shit on Discord, it's coming out. That's the
right. I mean, sure. If you want to call people weird sex freaks, go ahead. I don't really have a problem with it. But you know, I think you're appealing to like a disgust factor, which
I mean, honestly, we're doing sort of like the not to victimize myself, although I'm whatever. We're doing the whole thing where it's like, well, she was wearing her skirt too high up, so actually, like maybe it's reasonable that she got raped. She shouldn't have been wearing those clothes. Like this is what we're doing.
Maybe she shouldn't have been wearing those clothes. Yeah, Sick. Come on, you're a Mr. Girl fan. You're a Mr. Girl fan. You can admit that there are things that women can do to help prevent these things, like not DMing random women that you've only known for a week.
As saying that that's not the same thing as saying they should expect to get raped.
Okay, sure. Found the word coomer, weird sex freak is the only term allowed. Okay,
it's a dog shit analogy then, because in this instance, you should expect that shit to get leaked. Do you not agree with that?
No, I think generally people on Discord have kept my DMs private, and
so
forward,
this woman that you knew for 1 week or what, 2 weeks at this point, you thought, yeah, I'll sex her, nothing will ever come of it.
I'm a big fan of.
There's no possibility that it'll come out.
Huh?
There's no possibility this will come out. This random woman I just met that's been only weird in this freak server.
I don't know that I can have this conversation anymore because I can't. I legitimately can't take your argument seriously.
Okay.
Yes, generally, I think people understand that texts and DMs and shit like that are private, and the only reason most people even expose that kind of stuff is to expose another person's dishonesty.
I mean, if
that's Destiny's rule. No. Look, that's Destiny's rule.
No. That's like most people's
I show
rule.
DMs when someone
you don't like it because it's Destiny. You don't like it because it's Destiny's rule.
No, I'm saying that you are assuming that everyone else is operating on the way Destiny operates.
Not everyone else.
You're locked in, Sick.
You don't like it.
Not generally at all. People, other parts of the internet, people leak DMs all the fucking time. It is not.
Yeah, why do they leak DMs though?
For all sorts of fucking reasons, just to take the piss out of people. There's just not the same stigma around it as you might see in like a Destiny-oriented community.
He talked about mutually assured destruction. So, like, if she was reciprocating, then that would be mutually assured. So she wouldn't just be laughing at him.
It didn't really seem like she was reciprocating, but go ahead.
Well, that's because she only released them. We haven't seen all of the fucking logs. I wish that she would release them all.
Yeah, but we have to work on what we've got.
We don't.
And sure we do.
Much
and Sick has not
is
pointed.
Worse than no information.
Sick has not pointed to anything that shows, or he hasn't provided any narrative that says that she was like sexting him back at all. As far as I've heard.
Yeah, it doesn't even really make sense from the conversation that she would be going like unless she was going like, oh, then should I do this to Connor?
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, I'm so wet. I'm touching myself right now. I'm just gonna throw this ice water on you through the screen."
She said in the
messages. She admitted to goading the conversation, so she and her friends could laugh.
Yeah, but goading doesn't mean she was reciprocating sexually.
Yeah.
Well, no, she was fakely reciprocating sexually.
That's what goading is.
No,
like,
she's
egging him on. She wants him
to some degree at least.
Well, no, if she just said, "Yeah, keep giving me advice. Keep giving me advice. This is good stuff." That is, she could do that. That's goading.
She
but
said in it, like,
fingering
something
herself.
about like she's wet or like sick. You said something like you're wet again, or like, are you gonna tell me you're?
Clit is throbbing.
There's missing messages. I don't know what she's saying. So there's missing messages. I don't know what she's saying.
Right. So again, we have nothing to go off from saying. It sucks if it is there. That sucks. But sick so far hasn't provided any like even example of what she might have been saying. He's right. PK's right here.
I mean, no offense. Yes, I don't like putting words in other people's mouth. Yes, I'm not going to sit there and pretend to even like have a concept of what or where like messages are missing and what the contents of those messages are. Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, all right. I feel like that just works to my point then. That if she really was sexting you back, I feel like there would have been some sort of indication somewhere of that.
There is probably an indication in the fucking messages, but you just can't see them because the lab has them. It's just so dumb.
I mean, the indications would also come from the fact that I'm responding to myself multiple times and alluding to things that she's saying as well.
That's saying that things are missing, but you're not like, okay, you're like deep into sexual conversations with her, and you're getting off on it clearly, but like, where's the like, you're not commenting on anything that she's saying that she's doing. If she's like giving like sexual comments back to you, I'm almost positive you would be like commenting on those things. That's how you sex with people.
I literally have messages there that are replies or clarifications or yes, they're
not
there.
To those kinds of things.
Because I'm not explicitly repeating back shit she's saying.
You don't have to repeat back. But you really don't understand what I'm trying to say?
It's just difficult to see which part of the messages would have the deleted sexts from lab. Deleted messages, we can see that.
Why? Okay, this is so retarded, the way that you guys are fucking framing. You're trying to look at this in the worst possible way. One, she said that she was goading him on. She was trying to get him to say these things. So, like, obviously, she is going to say something that makes him say something sexual, which is going to be in some way reciprocal, because Sick is not just so retarded that he's going to, like, see some normal message and just say something, like, super sexual. Like,
he's going to rape. But he's going to rape. That's an insane level. I mean, I think Sick is a sexual freak.
But the Edo people, they talk about shit like that all the time. They are fucking, they're nuts. Okay,
they really love that shit.
They're really, really, really freaks. But yeah, like she's saying something. She has snipped out parts that make her look the best and are trying to make Sick look as bad as
no
possible.
one is arguing that.
But you guys are, because you're like, oh, well, it could technically be this way, where, like, this is the total context of everything.
I don't
like,
think Sick is like a very socially intelligent person.
What do you need from him? Like, it doesn't, all of this is
I need him to
so
tell
dishonestly.
me where there might be, like, sexual messages.
But he's not going to remember. Because this is
a year
ago, and he's a degenerate Kuma that does this shit all the fucking time.
But you know, I feel like it's like what more is there to say? Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, we've said what we
said that 18 times.
Well, yeah, because you keep fucking looping. Like, what more do you?
Yeah, because there's nothing else to talk about.
There is. I've got loads of stuff to talk about.
Okay, great, agreed.
No, not in this conversation.
Well, no, there isn't. That's it. Like, that's what I'm saying, though. It's like, okay, so, you know, I agree that the message, I can't foresee the messages that would make it, you know, go all the way to the other side. But I think there's definitely going to be some manipulation of Lav's side of the narrative to make it look as bad as possible. Sure. Like, I don't know what else there is to say. Like, is there something? Okay, but what do you want to happen now?
I don't know. I want more ads in this video, so that's all, really. I don't know how to tell you, man. You got something better to cover right now?
Not really, but I mean, I'm getting
bored
of talking about. But I'm getting bored of talking about this because you're just looping around the round. I'm like, what more is there to say? Has Sick not suffered enough? Or do you need to call? Do you need to call him a fucking degenerate sex freak a bunch more times?
Well, we'll be doing that over the course of the week.
Yeah, we will
probably,
be.
Well, okay, let's actually talk about
man,
something. Okay, let's talk about the path forward. Okay, so sick. Obviously, this has been a difficult drama for you to navigate. What next for you? What's your plan?
Hopefully to never talk about this again.
Okay.
Never
DK
talk to online
Creeman,
women again either.
are you gonna like let this lie now? Or are you gonna continue?
No.
Okay, well.
I mean, listen, I really don't care. At the end of the day, I really don't care. I just think it's funny. I think shitting on Sick is funny for being a weird freak because he's a former member of the Mr. Girl community, and those people are all freaks. And I mean, you can check my logs with Lav. I have 0. I've never sexted her. So I think I'm throwing stones in a perfectly cement house here. Chud, you can't say the same. But
What about what? Well, obviously, I've got my past controversies, which are now years old. But then, if you start my DMs with Lav, I would, there's nothing in there. It's just friendly.
Strictly professional. Strictly professional.
Also, keep in mind, in like 12 days, this is also like already a year old. This is not, I mean, it's not like this is anything recent,
I find it a shame that Chud has any positive logs with Lav whatsoever. That's something that I'm going to have to carry with me as an embarrassment going forward.
Okay. But mate, it was,
that's
initially at least, it was for the content, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with it. I'm glad you didn't cave to removing the videos.
No. Okay. Is that it?
Boots?
Yep.
Anything else?
Yep. Nope.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Round of
Any more
applause from chat, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Wait.
Right, everyone. Right, I'm going to kick everyone out except for Sick. Okay, because he's had enough. All right, I'm going to let him have the final say, the final plea to the audience. In fact, Creeman, anything before you go? Anything you've got to say?
No. Namaste.
Namaste. Okay, thank you.
Oh,
Boots?
respect our troops also.
Thank you, service. Stabby.
Right, Boots.
Stop
anything? Anything
No.
safe further? Okay, thank you.
No.
Right. Okay, mate. So, yeah, that's it as far as I'm concerned. I've got nothing more to say on it. I've said my piece. I've facilitated a pretty hefty grilling. That's it. I've got nothing more to say. What's your final words on this?
Go watch my stream at SICUnchained, SICUnchained.
Okay.
I mean, what else am I supposed to say? I don't want to address this ever again. I knew you were going to cover it. I knew it would probably be beneficial, even if I was to get railed the entire time, to actually come on and address things, because I could see a lot of the mistakes I made. It's also why I deleted a lot of the tweets that I posted, almost all of them. So, yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, good luck, mate. Hopefully, you manage to move on from this. I'm one of those members of my community that are, going to continue the meme. It is what it is.
Yep. I'll see you in 12 months when they're still going on about it. So
sounds good, mate. Okay, catch you later. Bye-bye. I'd say about 70% of this is rooted in people being disappointed that Sick did this over like an actual substantive critique. Yeah, honestly, as long as you're viewing it from a like comedy perspective, obviously it's funny looking at other people have fucked up shit. I'm sure people were laughing at me at the time of my controversy, but there isn't actually like it's not like you can say a really big moral message. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I know that DK framed it as dishonesty. I just think, to me, it struck me more as someone who's desperately trying to get something out to deal with this mountain of bad press that's coming about. I saw someone in chat say, "Oh, why did no one proofread it?" Or asking, I think it looks like someone maybe offered to proofread it and didn't assist him, so maybe that might have helped. I think the lesson going forward would just be if you get in this sort of controversy, just take a step back and figure out how you're going to deal with it and move forward. Oh, Hannah offered to proofread. Oh, yeah, Hannah put the message in chat, yeah. Why is nobody saying what Lav did to Sick is sexual harassment? I mean, sure, yeah. I mean, the thing is, what Lav did was totally fucked. You know, I don't think anyone would deny that. Like, if you said, thank you, Bans, for the bits. If you said, oh, do you think what Lav did was good or okay? People are going to be like, no, it's fucked. But it's like, you're reaching the point where it's like, yeah, we know that Lav is fucked. Like, you know, but then the problem is obviously he didn't know that at the time. It was only after the fact. It's like, yeah.